Well, hello, guys, and welcome to the Meet at the Creek podcast. I am Brother James Jeffrey, pastor here at Mud Creek Baptist Church, alongside tonight my, how was it our wife said it earlier, my current friend. Not my old friend, but my current friend.
I didn't think we were allowed to talk like that on here.
Well, you know how it is, man. You know how it is.
Unfortunately,
these women, they're going to give us a hard time no matter what. So that's just kind of how it goes. It's just kind of how it goes. Do me a favor, my man. Grab that thing over there. Pull it this way just a little bit. Just pull it down. No, I mean, pull it back down. There you go. Point that thing at you just a hair. There you go.
we got it.
Now you sound a lot better.
All right.
Okay. All right, guys, you guys help us out tonight. If you're tuning in, let us know you're here, and like and share the program. Chris Clemens, I don't know what you mean by we look like twins, but I can tell you.
I can tell you this, Chris. He had to get the wide angle camera out tonight
I did not
to fit both of us in, not just one, but both of us.
Well, you know how it is, Brandon. Sometimes in life, you just, you got to do what you got to do. I will tell you this: I got it up a lot higher than I normally run the camera tonight.
I noticed that.
We got a little bit of we got your pretty little cheetah bag,
yes.
Here for your goodie sack that your wife brought you.
Yes, she knows if I don't have my snacks, I get ill.
You don't get ill, you get hangry.
I get hangry,
and
yes.
you're the worst version of yourself when you're hangry.
Yes, amen. Amen. Hallelujah.
We can all can testify to Brandon's hangriness.
Yes, yes. That's why if you come to Hollywood Baptist Church, we will have you out as quick as possible, because I know what it's like to sit in church and be hungry.
Well, we don't have that problem at the creek. I mean, they say at Hollywood you might get out, you might beat the Methodist Church to the restaurant, but at Mud Creek, the Methodists are gone before we get out. I'm just kidding.
We love the Methodists, by the way.
We do. I got some good Methodist friends, but hey, I'm still trying to figure out the difference between a long sermon and a hostage situation, Brandon.
Well, it's like a preacher told me one time. He said, 30 minutes is good enough for a good sermon, and way too long for a bad sermon.
I don't think that's exactly how he said that.
Yeah, something to that effect. Yeah.
I think he said had something to do. A good sermon should be like a woman's dress.
Yeah. We'll say that. Long enough to cover all the important parts, but short enough to keep you coming back. Brother James's number is 256. This is not endorsed by Hollywood Baptist Church
or Mud Creek, for that matter. They don't endorse it either. But it is what it is, man. Those things are, I think sometimes people forget that we're real people too. We like to have fun and laugh. I try not to be vulgar or anything. Every once in a while, though, when I'm repeating a joke, it comes out like that. And, it's just not as funny to everybody else as it was to me.
Yep,
it's just kind of the way it goes. But anyhow, so.
Yeah, you got a little offended at me the day I preached because you thought that I was going to say something ugly. I didn't get offended. I was repeating Senator Kennedy's.
I didn't get offended. I did not get offended.
You got nervous.
I was a little nervous.
You were nervous.
I did not know what was about to come out of that mouth of yours. But, now I know how Mud Creek feels. Ain't that how it goes?
That's how it goes.
All right. Well, I'll tell you this. I'm going to have to pull my glasses off where I can see my phone. Kathy Hill said, "Dawn, you better smack him." She wears pants, Miss Kathy. We don't worry about it. Oh, goodness. Patrick Henniger said, "What's up, preach?" And Brother Brandon,
Hello, Brother Patrick.
read one verse and preach 4 hours. That's what Chris Clement said. I know he's talking about you, Brandon. I mean, that can't be me he's referring to. It's either him or you or Austin Holcomb, one of the two.
I don't know. They were all excited that day I preached because they actually got to eat on time.
Yeah, they did. But that's because they were eating here. You know, we had a fish fry that day.
Yeah, and it was really, really good, really good. Everybody was very hospitable. Our church really appreciated it, and had a real good time. I believe I had one or two get saved that day.
Yeah, there was
certainly wasn't because of the preaching, but that day. But it was good to see that.
You know, I agree with that too. I mean, but they, say you get them in with a fish fry, and give them the lamb instead of the fish, and glory to God, I mean, hey, it'll work.
Yeah, hallelujah.
It sticks. I'm thankful. Brother Zach, I remember Brother Zach got saved that day, Brother Patrick's boy. Mm-hmm. And, Zach, he's hanging in here, man. He's a faithful member, comes to men's group. We're real proud of him. The Lord's, blessing. He was one of my football players when I started being chaplain up at North Jackson for the football team. He was one of the football players. And I believe, if I'm not bad mistaken, he was a freshman when I started going up there. And man, the time is flying by. I'm telling
Absolutely.
you, those are some good times. Last night I found out something about you, Brother Brandon, that I did not know, and I don't know how I didn't know. I'm sure we've talked about it, but you used to be a football official.
Yes,
Once upon a time.
many moons ago.
I mean,
was not very good, but yes.
I ain't met a football official yet that was very good at it, but
I was an umpire, so I didn't have to do a whole lot. So I was in the middle.
That's
there.
right up your alley.
Yes, right up my alley. Got to watch the game right there. I think I broke a toe or two once and twice.
I heard that. Well, there's Miss Andrea Bryant checking in. Miss Andrea, we love you. It's good to see you. Tuning in with us tonight. Hope you having a great day. And yesterday I was on my way up for practice to be with the team, and I passed by and I didn't honk the horn at you. I seen you outside pressure washing, but there was a lot of vehicles coming up down the highway. I didn't want to I know how people road rage up here around Fackler and Mud Creek area, so I try not to be blowing the horn unnecessarily around here. People think, well, and if they don't road rage at you, everybody will throw their hand up at you. No telling how many wrecks will happen right there. So, people will rubberneck trying to see if you was blowing at them. Oh, praise the Lord. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, it's good to be back. And Brother Brandon was with us. It's been almost 2 years ago now.
Has it been that long?
It has been that long. You came on. I believe you came on in September of 2023, and so we were right here at it. So it's been almost 2 years since you've been on the show. But now I had to quit, and I stopped, and it was going to be a temporary pause for basketball season in 2023, and then by the time it was time to come back to it, I was trying to rebrand and go a little bit different direction, which we ended up doing anyway. We're just doing it with the same name. But then we started the church move, the process of moving and relocating down here to the new property, building. We built this barn, remodeled this thing, and then basically, half built the new building. And at the same time, we had an excavation project going on up in the holler, doing that clearing and trying to get that done and ready to go. And man, it's been a whirlwind, and I'm excited to be back. I know this is the fourth one now, I think, since the first two, I went back in alone just to get my feet wet again. And here we are, episode number 4 of season number 2.
Number 4.
Wow. What a difference a couple of years makes, man. We're in a
Can't
brand
believe
new.
it's been 2 years. Wow.
I know, man. It's been
hard to believe.
Well, time does fly.
Yes, when you're having fun.
No, you don't even have to be having fun. Just work. If you're just busy,
Oh, that's true.
if
too.
you just got a lot going on, time will get by, man. It's like going to work, and your day is slam full, and the next thing you know, you got your day's over. I mean, it's time to go home. And
Right.
it seems like that's happening to be more and more and more. Business is picking up. A lot of that's because of the growth that we're experiencing in this area. And though it's not a whole lot compared to other areas, like where you live,
Oh, it's ridiculous.
it's a lot for us because we're not used to it. Our infrastructure is not as great or as good as the infrastructure in the bigger cities are. You're just more equipped, down your neck of the woods to handle stuff like that. But, last time you were on, we talked about a little bit about your background and your history and your life and your family and the church. And tonight, I told you we weren't necessarily going to talk about anything, but I'm just kind of sitting here. Obviously we will integrate, our ministry and our faith and all the things that we do into this as we talk, because it's just part of who you are.
Right.
And, so you it's just going to come out no matter what. But, there's another side of Brother Brandon that, there's something you do. You also work full time. You're a bivocational pastor, just like I am, and you have a full time job, and you have the kind of job that, well, just not very many people around these parts have.
That is true.
And for those of you that don't know, Brother Brandon's an embalmer.
We like to call it a post-mortem cardiothoracic surgeon, to be exact.
I should have known. I should have known you was a clout chaser.
So I actually told that to a woman one time in the store, because most of the time when you tell people that you're an embalmer, I'll never forget, I was over here in Scottsboro. And matter of fact, I work for myself. I'm a contractor. And so with our business, that skill, you just don't have a lot of people going into it like they used to. And I know there's a few around, and a lot of people, we don't talk about it because it makes a lot of people feel uncomfortable. And so a lot of people, they don't realize what it is that we do and the importance of it. And especially with the way that people are going in different directions, people are not as religious anymore. So you tend to see a lot of cremations where you don't see the traditional stuff. However, you can still be embalmed, have a service, and be cremated later. And a lot of people talk about it's about money and things like that, but they don't see the need for really what we do. And then when you do talk about it, people don't really understand. But I'll never forget, I was working over here in Scottsboro one day, and I was headed back home. And I wear scrubs, just a little bit more sanitary. And so I wear the scrubs, don't try to portray myself as I'm a healthcare professional or anything like that. But I was in the Circle K. And this sweet lady, she approached me and she said, "Oh, do you work at the hospital?" I said, "No, ma'am, I don't." But I didn't follow up with what I did, because some people have a crazy reaction. And so she kept on, "Well, do you do this?" "No, ma'am, no, ma'am." She said, "Well, what do you do?" I said, "Well, I'm an embalmer." And when I said that, Lord, she just started screaming right there in the middle of the Circle K. So I said, "I'll never tell anybody that anymore." So there was another day that I was over in Hampton Cove area, and I was going to the racetrack, or I went into the racetrack to the gas station there. And the cashier, she asked me, she same way this lady did, to have my scrubs on, she asked. And I just said, she said, "Well, what do you do?" I said, "I'm a post-mortem cardiothoracic surgeon." And she said, oh, really, really? And they don't pick up on that post-mortem, and I really do not try to portray myself to be anything other than, what I am, and not always comfortable telling people what we do. Because like I said, a lot of people don't understand it. They think that we're doing, all this gory stuff. And it's really, it's a ministry within itself, because we are able to, and I actually belong to this private page. I think I may have told you about this. And a lot of people were taught, it's all Southern Baptist Church pastors. And the subject about cremation, was it wrong? And certainly there's nothing in the Bible against it. And of course, all these preachers are putting all their input in, and it really kind of disturbed me. because there was one, he was from South Carolina, I'll never forget, and he was just saying how foolish it was. It was too much money. And, and so I started to ask him all these questions. Well, how can you preach a funeral and you feel that way towards someone? I'm not against cremation. I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But what a lot of people don't see, well, number one, it's one of the most sanitary things that we can do. Number two, it gives us a chance for people who may have not had that last chance to say goodbye to that loved one. There's a lot of scientific data that's out there that proves that that seeing the body, it helps with the grieving process. And that's something that amazes me because, as you know, I was raised pretty much by my grandparents a whole lot, and we went to funerals as kids. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, people, they're scared to take their kids to the funeral home because they try to protect them from these things. And death is just as a part of life as living is. Mm-hmm. And there is beauty in death. And the Bible even talks about that. We rejoice at the death of the saints. Mm-hmm. And seeing the body at peace, it's really, and I didn't mean to go down this road tonight, but it's something that we don't talk about. Mm-hmm. And I know that it's costly, but I also said this, I'm always amazed that people will gripe about the cost of a funeral, and it is. There are, there's places that it is more costly than others. But people will always pay for what's important, just mm-hmm. like with church. I mean, we've got people, you've got people, I've got people that they complain that they can't tithe. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going down a road that's probably slippery, but it's me saying it, not your pastor.
Yeah, that's right.
But people, they will complain and say that they can't pay their tithes. Mm-hmm. They can't give to the church, but yet we can go on vacations and we can pay for those things that are necessary. Mm-hmm. And it's the same way with that, and again, I'm not throwing stones at anyone, but we pay for what's important to us.
Yeah.
And we will pay for those things. We will find a way to pay for things that are important to us.
It's kind of funny you say that. This morning, for whatever reason, had no idea what we were going to talk about. We just didn't make a plan. But this morning, while I was in the shower, Ernie Dawson came to my mind. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember Ernie, yep. But I had a chance to go to a few concerts, a few singings, the places where they were at. He always told the same story, but one time, the first time I ever heard him, he talked about his relationship with his mother, and she had all her physical and mental and just all of her disabilities that she had and the things that she went through, and
I just seen what Nathaniel Bates said. That's pretty good, brother.
I ain't seen Nathaniel in a long time. I got to get you down here, man. But I was thinking about him, and I thought about what he said about his mom. He in the phrase that he used, he said, "I put my mama away nice," mm-hmm. and he said that was the first thing that I could ever do. And I put my mama away nice. And man, he'd always say that. And every time he'd talk about it, he'd say that line, "I put my mama away nice." And, he'd say it with tears in his eyes and his voice will breaking. And it was just heart wrenching, to hear him tell that story. But like you said, it's because that was important to him. And you're exactly right. We do pay for the things we put out money for the things that we want to do. It's like time. You'll make time for the things that are important to you. Church is important to you. If school's important to you, if sports are important to you, if video games are important to you, if whatever's important to you, you'll make time for those things. But I want to go back just a minute. You said something earlier about it's not a vocation, a profession that people are choosing.
Right.
There's probably a few reasons why people don't choose that profession. Me being your friend, I happen to have, secondhand knowledge. I got to hear you didn't complain about it a whole lot, but every time we'd get together, Christy would make comments about how, she said, she told us one time on the phone, she said, "I'm a nurse. And, I go to school. I still go to school, and that school was rough. I mean, that school was hard. And
It was.
And so I imagine the education side of it is pretty strenuous.
And I'm not very smart. So.
Well, I mean, I wasn't going to say that on the air, but since you said it, hey, when she had to go, it was more sad than if she would have been to some and get to realize there's life and death and you're born again in it. It can be a rejoicing time knowing where they're going. And, that's right, Kim. A lot of people, I guess it was just something that my folks did. My mom and dad they just did not go to funerals when I was young. And the older I got, the less that they went. I mean, they'd go if somebody in our immediate family passed away, but they just weren't funeral goers. But now the older my dad's got, the more he goes, it's just, then it's just the way it is. My mom was the same way. The older she got, closer, she got, the more funerals she attended. And, I don't think it was ever, anything that they did to try to shield us from going. It was just one of those things that they just did not go. I've got some friends like that. I won't name his name, but I got one friend I'm very close to, and I don't hold it against him at all, and he'll tell you straight away, he hates going to funerals. Funerals make him sad.
My wife, and my wife does not like to go. And my kids don't. With you, let me stop you there for just a second, Tater. One of the first things that we learned going into mortuary school, and it was a saying that they had, and I never can remember who it was, but I looked it up. It was Sir William Edward Gladstone, and I've never heard truer words than this. But this is what he said. He said, "Show me the manner in which a nation cares for its dead, and I will measure with mathematical exactness the tender mercies of its people, their respect for the laws of the land, and their loyalty to high ideas."
Mm-hmm.
And
that's right.
And that's true. It's how we respect the dead. And I get it. There's a lot of people that feel uncomfortable talking about those things, and a lot of it's because they don't know. Mm-hmm. They don't know. They don't know the process. They don't know what happens. And I heard a preacher. I can't remember who it was the other day. There's only been one person who's ever been able to testify about death, and that was Jesus Christ. None of us know what's on the other side, but we can trust knowing that He knows.
Lazarus could have.
He could have.
But I don't ever read where anybody ever recorded what he said, but he could have.
He could have, but not saying that I disagree with you, but he didn't understand the power that it held. I don't think like Jesus did, because Jesus conquered it. Because Lazarus died again.
Oh yeah, he died again.
But Jesus conquered death.
But I would venture to say Lazarus probably, after having been dead, and knowing who had the power over death and to overcome it and conquer it, I'm sure you imagine being dead and being called out, and then waking up and there he is.
Right.
You heard his voice. You answered the one who called you
right
out of death.
Right.
So whether he talked about it or not is irrelevant. When it came his time to die the second time,
he died.
I doubt he had any fear at all in his body. Having been through it once, knowing the process,
right.
I've been there once. He called me out once. He'll call me out again. It's I'm not going to stay there. But I often I heard Alistair Begg one time, I believe it was, preaching about that, and he said, mm-hmm. Can you imagine, what he must have been going through his mind when Caligula was coming for him? They were looking for him. They were trying to hunt him down and kill him. And he said, I can just imagine what he said. It's like, you have no power. You have no power. Why would I be afraid when I know the one who has power over the grave? I know the one who has power over death. I have been there, and I have done that, and I know who brought me out. He'll bring me out again. And you brought up a good point too about people not yeah, and about the quote from Gladstone was people not honoring the dead or how they used to honor the dead. Growing up, I remember as a kid, I just basically grew up right to the side of the creek here, and a bunch of my folks buried over here in Lakeview in Price Cemetery over here by Lakeview Church, and it was nothing in those days, man. When it come Decoration Week,
Oh yeah.
Decoration Week was an all week thing.
Yep.
We spent all week hauling dirt and picking flowers and getting stuff ready to go and cleaning and wiping those headstones. And then come Saturday, we went down there, started at basically the break of dawn, and on Saturday morning, and we worked and we worked and we worked and we put dirt on the graves and mounted them up. They look like fresh graves out there. People used to really, really put into that, and we don't do that stuff anymore. And a lot of it I think is because of how spread out it is. It's very difficult to not only take care, like there for a while I was trying to weed eat and mow and take care of all the graves in the cemeteries and get around and make sure everything was cleaned up. And man, I got to noticing a few years after Mom died. I mean, first it was 1, then it was 3, and then it was 7, and then it was 12, and then it was 15, and now it's like 22. And I had that injury with my foot and my ankle, and I couldn't walk. And when I got where I couldn't do it, somebody else started doing it, thankfully. And now I don't have to do it as much. I still go every year, still do some weed eating, leaf blowing, raking, and, cleaning up and things like that. But I don't have to do it to the extent that I used to have to do it. And it's, we go on Decoration Saturday now. I go up there, and it might be 10 or 12 people there.
Yeah. It's not like it
and
yeah.
It's very hard to see. And it's not that people are just lazy necessarily.
It's our priorities.
Yes.
I mean, seriously, it's our priorities. It's what we're so, and I'm throwing off on myself, and I hope my wife's not watching because she'll probably hit me later. We make it a priority to be at our kids' games, ball games, and stuff like that. And I'm not against those things. I've got one that just came out of playing college ball, who played ball all of his life. I've got another one that just went in playing softball at the college level. They played. But what I'm saying is there's so much looking back, brother, that we didn't experience our children to. Things that have lasting effects. Things that they will remember because like you remembering that as childhood, I remembered it as a childhood. And I remember, a lot of our people were buried up at Long Acre, up there. And I remember having decorations up there. I don't even know if they do it anymore. I'm sure they probably do. But I remember those things were important. And it was a way that we know as believers that our loved ones is not there. But that body meant something. Yeah. And we know that it's at rest. And we know that one day that the Lord is gonna call us out of the grave. And we know that it'll be a new body, but it's a comfort, I think, to a lot of people, especially in the grieving process. And a lot of people don't like to talk about grief. Grief can be a good thing, and grief is something that we all in life are going to experience, whether it's death or whether it's, a lot of people with divorce, they face grief. God forbid. I mean, there's just a lot of ways that we can experience grief, but people have got to know that there is a right way. Even the Lord Jesus dealt with grief. I mean, we're not immune to it in this life. I mean, it's going to be here until all things are made perfect. But we're scared of that, and we try to numb ourselves, or we try to medicate ourselves. And again, I don't want anybody to walk away and say, "Oh, Brother Brandon's throwing off on medication." I'm not throwing off on those things, but I'm saying that when we take away the things that really have eternal value, and we don't see the necessity for it anymore, that we look more towards the things that bring us satisfaction in this life, and we spend most of our time chasing after those things, rather than the eternal things that really matter. Yeah. And I know as a dad, I look back over my life, we have 4 kids and Christy. And I think, I have failed my kids so much in so many areas. And I can't go back. I don't get a do-over. That's one thing with parenting. You don't get a do-over. But
yeah, you do. It's called grandparenting.
well, and we're fixing to, praise God, we're fixing to face that here in a couple of weeks. We're excited about that. But you hope though that there's things, and one of the greatest things that I am thankful for is that the majority of my family is with me in church on Sundays, and they don't really know how big of a blessing. So because that's always been something that's been important. Christy really, I had got out of church for a while, and that was something that she really pushed for me, and I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that she's seen the need that our family, that they needed to be in church, because she's seen the eternal value of it. And my kids are saved. They're not perfect. They're typical preacher kids, But I am proud. I'm proud of them. They, as far as I know, they've never been in jail.
Yeah.
And they're leading productive lives.
We're not going there.
And we can talk about that here in just a little bit.
No, we don't need to go.
You listen.
Thank God for kids.
Yes. Yes, they've got T-shirts too. Thanks to Andrew Miller's wife.
Yeah.
And your wife, Smart Alex, and mine, Smart Alex.
We got to get to the comment section here in a minute.
Oh
man.
yeah. I'm waiting on the. I see a bunch of.
Started it.
I see laughy faces popping up everywhere.
Dawn started it a few minutes ago, and Miss Kathy, we saw yours, and Michelle, we'll get to yours too just in a second. Dawn said, "I love how y'all have to be nice to each other on the air." I don't know. Bradley Potter says, "Oh my, Taylor and Brandon together."
I seen that. Hey, cousin Bradley.
Yeah. Sharon Hash, y'all look like two brothers, and hey, that is. We are brothers.
We are
just brothers from another mother.
Yes.
And then your wife, Dawn Jeffrey, you should know they dying to cut each other down or punch each other, and we cut each other down a little bit. We do it. We do it in fun.
We do. We really do love each other, and I know people would probably think that we don't, but we do. There's nobody that I love to hate on more than James Jeffrey.
I understand. And
J-Quad, Tater, whatever you
I got more nicknames than Deion Sanders these days.
And some of those names we cannot say.
Shout out, Neon Dion. Prime time. Yeah. Christy says Sharon has, probably because they're morphing into one. They spend about 8 hours a day on the phone together. That is not true.
That is not true. They think that we talk. We do talk a good bit.
When we do talk,
it's productive.
We talk for a while, and sometimes an hour or so at a time. And then sometimes we'll talk an hour, hang up, an hour later, talk another hour. But we got stuff to talk about.
That's right.
We can't help it. They're not interesting.
That's right.
Don Jeffrey said, "Give it time. It will happen." And then I'm going to skip down just a minute. Hello, Brother Roger. And let me say hi to these folks that are tuned in. Hey, Granny. Good to see you. Christy said, shh. Hello, Brother Steve Keller. Good to see you on here.
Hey, Brother Steve.
And Michelle, I saw that this morning when I woke up about your dad, and our prayers and thoughts are with you and your family. I reached out to Jeff this morning, and my, the things your family's had to go through the last few months. It's been terrible. We are praying for you. And if you guys need anything, give us a call. And Miss Kathy, I want to get to your question
yes,
here.
I've seen that. That's a good question.
Did Jesus weep because Lazarus died, or because he knew he'd have to bring him back? And now I'm going to let Brother Brandon go first. And
well, thanks. I appreciate you putting me on.
Well, I'll go first if you want me to.
Well,
we
theologically, I think Jesus wept because of the unbelief. Because of it wasn't because he knew that Lazarus. I mean,
Well, he actually said before he went there, Lazarus is asleep.
Yes, he's asleep.
And he had to tell them because they didn't understand that Lazarus was dead.
Right.
To Jesus, death was not a big deal.
No.
It was a bigger deal to those. So theologically speaking, he wept because of unbelief. If you go down, if you read all the way through and study the context, every time that the crowd would ask him for a miracle, he'd get very frustrated
Yes.
with the crowds. He hated that he had to do, he constantly would make reference and make, a point to say something about you. Always looking for signs and wonders. You can't just believe it because I tell it to you.
Right.
So, I don't think he was necessarily weeping because he was having to raise him from the dead. He was weeping because of the reason that he was going to have to raise him from the dead.
Right.
Which is unbelief. So,
the unbelief, yes.
That's an area where you and I are, right on point. I hope that answers your question, Miss Kathy.
That was a good question, though.
It really
Very good
was.
question. Very good question. I wish more people would ask questions like that.
Yeah, me too.
I could show everybody how much smarter I am than you two.
Well, you are smarter than me.
I'm joking. I am sincerely joking.
No,
I do not have a, what is it, a
you do have
doctorate of theology. I don't have
oh
that
goodness
degree.
gracious,
I do
man!
not have that degree.
That only took me 16 years to get. You know how many credits I had to submit where I started and had to stop. Of course, now a lot of people don't know that about me. They see that and they think, "Oh man, Tater's so smart." Well, that's a combination of you just, I started seminary way back in 2006. And I would save up my money. I would go, and then I was raising 3 kids and had a family, and I was working at the local rug mill and trying to make ends meet and do life, and so money was not plentiful.
No.
It was not bountiful. We did the best we could, and we got by, and we had decent stuff.
And let me say, I am so thankful for my church that they see the value that they invest in me to go to seminary. And I especially, God bless it. I am proud to be a Jackson County native. I'm thankful that I was born, raised here. Of course, we've moved away. Of course, we're just in the next county, in Madison County. But the mindset here, and I believe you'll agree with me, brother, is that education in religion was not really, it's kind of looked down upon. I think that has shifted a whole lot.
I think so.
But I'm so glad that my church family has seen the need to send me. And I'm like you, I've been going for a while, slowly working at it. But the things that I have learned and a lot of things that I would say and preach out of ignorance, I see now, and it's really challenged me to study. And, and I would challenge anybody. Me and you were talking about this today. Even sending your kids. I mean, it would be a great thing to send them there and to really get a good biblical foundation about your faith. Why we believe what we believe. Because I think there's a lot of people that we go to church with that simply they don't understand why we preach what we preach or why we believe. And they just take it, well, that's what Mama thought, and that's what Grandma and Mama and Papa thought. But they need to understand that there are biblical reasons why we preach what we preach and why we do the things that we do. And I think, seminary, it is a good thing. I know some people call it cemetery. And, no doubt that there are some professors that are very, dry and boring. I hope no one from Luther Rice is watching me tonight, but I doubt they are. But there are some. But there are some. We've got one that teaches. I go to Luther Rice right outside of Atlanta, Georgia, and his name is Dr. David Cassis. His parents were immigrants from Cuba, and they were actually exiled to Spain for a while. And he was actually in the legislature over there in Georgia. Very, very, very. And I just wish that everybody I knew could just sit and listen. This man is so passionate, and it comes through. And you can tell that he is educated, and not with an arrogance, but with the fact that he enjoys the revelation that God has given him. And he does a lot of Old Testament stuff. And, a lot of people look at the Old Testament like, oh, it's boring. And, really, what can you get from it? But you really get a good foundational truth. But I don't know how we got on talking about the education and stuff. But, we're quick to send our kids to these liberal thinking schools. And it's really sad. You've been in them. I've been in them. And
we got to talking about it because you were making fun of me.
Probably so. I mean, he didn't take. He went to Brother Tater went to the correspondence seminary.
Did.
No, I'm joking.
Well,
No,
really, that's what it was. It was correspondence based. That's where I finished. But I did a lot of about half of my time I did in class stuff. Just locally, at Bible at BBI. So I mean, it was in a classroom setting and had to sit out there and we had to do tests and write papers. And I mean, it was it was just like going, it was maybe a little more relaxed than, going off to school. I mean, I went to Northeast and, after high school for a while and I had, I don't know, 2 years, if I could do math, I would have had an associate's degree, but I can't do math. I'm terrible at it, and I have tried. I hired tutors, the whole 9 yards. I would already have a business degree a long time ago if I could have passed math. But that was part of the things that part of the reason that I didn't pursue like Liberty, because I would have had to go through math. I would have never graduated. I'm terrible at math, and it's just part of the way it is. And but it took me off and on. I say 16 years, but and it was really 16 years. I started in 06 and I finished in 2022 and got my degrees, finally all. But now that didn't come without its share of testing too. That proctoring stuff that's hard. And, it's just difficult. It wasn't the most fun thing I'd ever done in my life. I can promise you. You're sitting there. You're under the gun. You're timed. You don't have. It's just hard to be confident. You're sitting there and their eyes are on you, and it's just like sitting in a classroom, really. And I didn't make hundreds on everything, and I didn't score as good as I would like to have. And
your daughter is asking an important question. So she's saying, "So you're saying if I finish more of those classes, I can preach?" I say yes, Miss Natalie, go for it.
She pretty well does anyway. Ask Austin, he'll tell you. We often said, growing up, Natalie was so shy, she wouldn't hardly talk. Penny Clevenger was the first person to ever convince her to sing, and then she shoved a microphone up in her face, and Natalie and then after that, Natalie wouldn't say nothing in church for the longest time, and then she started singing with her sisters a little bit, and then as they progressed out of the home, I started making her sing, and I used that her when she got 15. I would let her drive. She drove me to all my revival meetings and preaching appointments and whatever. I drove her, let her drive, and she was willing to go because she wanted to drive. And so she sat through a lot of that. And then when I was at Pine Grove, I was going to BBI, and I started dragging her out there with me, and Brother David didn't charge us anything for her to be able to come. And, we just had to buy her books and stuff. And it was eye-opening for her to sit in a class. And I really think she probably don't realize it today, but those classes, begin to kick the wheels, around in her head. And over time, unknowingly, and she's not going to brag on herself, but unknowingly, the wheels of ministry begin to turn, in her heart. And she does a lot of things without even realizing she's doing them.
Yep.
And, if we were a different denomination, she probably would be preaching, but we're not. And she ain't. So do you want to get on the roll of what role the women have in the church? Well, I mean, we can go there, but before we do that, let's back up, because my wife said, "Can me and Christy Parton Gamble ask questions?"
No.
I told her it depends on what it is.
I say no altogether.
But she did chime in earlier and ask Miss Kathy what it was that I said, and because she was late to the party, and I told her she didn't need to know. And Kathy said, "I'll tell you later. You might get in trouble."
Well, I was going to say you could when you get home, you could share it.
Well, I mean, I don't care to tell it again. I have never been one to shy away from getting in trouble. You know, it just is what it is. So, does anybody else have any questions? Anything you want to know about, talk about? I mean,
I think they think we're boring.
Yeah, I mean, I've been boring.
We are boring.
We kind of are boring.
We're kind of nerdy in a sense because our wives, when we get to talking about things, they
don't really.
They want to go do something shop or something.
Well, I mean, we don't even have to be talking about something for Don Jeffrey to want to shop. I mean,
well, Christy Gamble too. So.
Those two will leave you standing there.
She said, right?
I knew shopping would evoke a response. And next time I want an amen out of my wife, I'm gonna mention shopping during the preaching and see what happens.
You know, for a 4 foot tall woman, she can wear you out. Like, she has a bigger stride than anybody I know.
It's not a bigger stride, bro. Them legs move so fast. And them short steps, it just looks like she's taking big strides.
I think she has a big stride because me and you both are.
No, bro. She walks so fast. Her legs move so fast. But she's always been like that ever since we've been together. You know, she's always been. In 28 years, she walks so fast, and she doesn't understand why people can't keep up with her. But I think it was last year. We went to the Smokies together. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget, me and you done give up.
Oh, yeah.
We called Calf Rope, went back to the truck.
Yep. Sitting there.
We was sitting there. And after about, I guess, an hour, Christy opened the door.
Yeah, Christy, I was surprised.
And just collapsed in the back seat of the truck. Said, "Shoo!" She said, "I thought I could shop till I dropped," but Don Jeffrey gives that a brand new meaning.
Oh, yes. Yes, she does. She does. Your wife, going back, she says, what is a woman role in the church?
My wife said that?
Mm-hmm. She actually asked that question.
I didn't see that. Where is
and then
that?
Frank Helms said, Don Jeffrey, oh. And then Miss Kathy Helms says, oh, here we go. Chris Nelson said, y'all playing a dangerous game. Natalie Hockham, seriously, tithing. What's the importance of it financially and spiritually? Natalie, can I answer that?
Go ahead.
And then I'll let you take on the women. How's that sound?
That is fine with me. We can do either or.
Natalie, let me say this, that a lot of people think that tithing goes back to Old Testament law, and it goes beyond the law.
It does. It goes back farther than that.
Abraham gave a tenth to Melchizedek. Mm-hmm. Melchizedek was a priest after the order. He was that Christ-like foreshadowing. Mm-hmm. And he gave a tenth. So to me, that sets our example. I tell my people, and you can come to our church, and I can tell you from experience that if you are faithful, that is one of the few scriptures that God says, prove me. In other words, try me out. See if I will not do what I say I will do. We know that scripture, us that's been in church, been in Malachi. So tithing, it's not about the financial support of the church. It is, but it's not. Mm-hmm. But it's about us sacrificial. And I know in the New Testament that it talks about giving as you have. And really what he's saying there is that we don't have to really limit it to a tenth. But I think a tenth is a good starting point, as Abraham did. That he gave a tenth not just of his little bit, but of everything that he had. And I think it's a way that we sacrificially give back to the Lord, not that we can get things, but God says, see if I will not open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing that you'll not have enough room. And I can tell you, I'm not a rich man, Brother Tater, but God has blessed me in ways. I have seen God show up and do things that I didn't even think was possible.
Yeah.
And I have challenged my people. I've got a sweet lady in my church, older lady. She's on a fixed, I may have shared this story with you. She's on a fixed income. And I preached about tithing one time. And she started doing it. And she said, she came and she was rejoicing because she had, I think it was $100, $200 extra every month that she had not had. She said, I can't explain it. She said, but I seen God move in that. And it was simply because she stepped out on faith. And I'm not a name it and claim it, faith healer. I'm none of those things. But I do believe that God proves his faithfulness when we show that we are willing and we move out. And it is a spiritual matter.
Yeah.
I really do believe that that is a spiritual matter, because when we say, well, if I give my tithes, then I'm not going to pay my bills. What is that? That's a lack of faith. And anything that is not faith is wrong. And the Bible teaches us that. And so a lot of people are tuning in. They're going, oh, he's sitting there trying to get more money for the church. Listen, I'm not trying to get more money for my church or Brother Tater's church. I'm saying if you are a born again Christian, and especially if you join with a church, you have a responsibility. And that responsibility is that it is furthering the gospel. It is taking the gospel outside of the four walls of the church. And it does take money for those things. And I know a lot of people says, well, let's just depend on God. God will do it. And I know God will take care of it, but God also expects you to do your part and get off your rear end.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of like going out in the middle of a field and leaning on a shovel and expecting a hole to appear. I mean, you got to use the shovel.
Amen.
So, a lot of people, they don't like talking about, I don't like preaching about tithing, but we do have to preach it. I mean, it is in the Bible. And I know that there are some people that will say, hey, is it really that important? And I'll be honest with you, Brother Tater, I think you're the same way I am. When COVID came, we stopped passing the offering plate, and I've yet to pass the offering plate around. To me, it's there. I encourage my people, to give. I don't take a time out of our service to do it, because to me, it's an expectation that you should have, that I'm going to the house of God, and that's part of my worship. Tithing is a part of worship.
If you the minute that you have to guilt somebody into doing it,
Yep.
they're no longer doing it cheerfully. It's no longer coming from the right place, and God's not going, and that's something you mentioned it a minute ago. If you do it sacrificially, if you do it correctly, God will bless you in return.
Yes.
And the reason a lot of people don't like to do it is because down through the years, they were forced into giving money that they felt like they didn't have to give. They gave it begrudgingly. They didn't get any blessing in return for it because they didn't understand that it didn't come from the right place to begin with. And they just, all they saw is, they saw the pond being drained, and nothing, no rain, no water being put back in. Well, that's part of the problem with that. And, it has become such a focal point, in these days, in these years, times that we're living in. You listen, I love these listener supported radio stations. They have to have fundraisers to stay afloat. And I get it. I get it. But here's what happens. And you see this more and more and more and more happening. They're selling advertisements.
Right.
They're making money.
Right.
And then they have these big fundraisers and they make hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
Bring it in. That money goes somewhere else. It don't stay in house. They say it does, but that's not the truth, the whole truth. And it is what it is. TBN, all of those TV networks. I mean, they run them telethons. You know what I mean? It's like,
and most of those people that are on there are paying for those slots anyway.
Yeah. And them, I have no problem with them being listener supported, or viewer supported.
Right.
I have no problem with them saying, hey, we need your money to stay afloat. If you enjoy our programming, consider supporting it. I totally understand that.
Absolutely.
Where I have a problem with is what they have turned tithing and giving into. And
Amen.
it is, it is this expectation of, well, I'm going to give 10, and if I don't get 1,000 in return, I feel like somebody out there is supposed to send me $100. I need 22 people to send me $1,000. Well, you're $22,000 richer. But what about the people who gave you $1,000? And they did that expecting to get 10,000 in return for it. Then, and that is not realistic.
You don't give
you don't give
yeah, it's not
in order to get. You give just to give, and then you trust and know that somewhere along the line
that God's going to
take care of you. It's going to come back to you.
Some
way, shape,
and
or form.
He will. Miss Kathy Helms asked a good question. She said, "So, is it a requirement to at least tithe 10%?" Miss Kathy, I would say, and I'm assuming Miss Kathy's one of your church members, right? So I would say that 10% is what we see. It was a tenth. Tithe is tenth.
Well, it has to do with the first fruits offering,
right?
That's where the tithing comes from, and the first fruits offering was a 10% tithe off the top, off the best of their, whether it was their crops, or maybe they raised sheep or cattle or goats or whatever, they would bring it the best tenth they had.
Right.
If they had 10, they'd pick out the best one they had, and that's the one they brought, and they would deal with the remaining 9 and do the best they could. They'd work them and try to get better. It was what it was. So whatever it was, it had to do with the first fruits offering, and that's where the whole principle of what we still consider tithing today, but Brother Brandon's right. The law first mentioned takes you all the way back to when it happened, funny enough, before the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yes.
It's when Lot had been captured by the 10 kings, and Abraham pursued them and won them back, and he was on his way back with Lot, thinking that Lot was going to choose.
Yes.
And it just goes to show you that, and Lot was there and witnessed Melchizedek come out, and he was the king of Salem, which means the king of peace. That's what Salem means, is peace. So there he was, the king of peace. The king of Sodom also came out and met him at the same place. And, we know Sodom means scorching. It was a dreadful place. It was a barren place. So you had your type there. You had the king of a scorching place and the king of peace. So you can figure out, what they're a type and a shadow of, but they're, and he ties to Melchizedek. Well, here's the thing about that. The king of Sodom had a proposal. Melchizedek didn't say, give me a tenth. Abraham just did it, but out of the joy and just the absolute thankfulness and gratitude of his being. But the king of Sodom wanted to make a deal with Abram, and he says, well, I tell you what, do all your spoils, all that loot, you keep everything. Don't worry about tithing me 10% of that. Just give me the people. And that's what the enemy, that's what the devil, the king of hell, wants today. He just wants people.
Yep.
He's not interested. You can have all the stuff. Look what he did when he carried Jesus up. You can have all this stuff. You can keep the stuff. Just give me the people.
Right.
Only thing he's interested in is the people. And I thought it was amazing, going through that story when Melchizedek comes out. He's the king of Salem. He's not asking for a tenth. He's not asking for anything. He comes out, and because he's a high priest, the first high priest that's recorded, and Abraham blesses him, and by blessing him, it is his way of blessing the Lord and the Lord's work and the Lord's ministry, to him, and his protection and provision. So those are some things. I have never seen such courage. Y'all jumping right off in the button issue, tithing, women's roles in the church.
This is that is Brother Cody Dunaway, and this is a brother that I have met through a Facebook page, and I have really just come to love this brother. Don't even really know him that well, but I feel like I've known him, and he is coming actually to preach for us September. I can't never remember. It's the 7th. It's not this coming Sunday, but the next Sunday. Him and his family are going to be with us. He is from Tiplersville, Mississippi. Yes.
You sent me a video?
Yes, I did. Yes, and him and his wife, just good anointed singing. Brother Cody is if you have a chance, I'm not trying to pull anybody. If you remember Mud Creek, you need to be at Mud Creek. But if you're not anywhere, we'd love to have you to come and be in worship with us. This brother, I think he's kind of young. You can comment back, Brother Cody, if you want to. But he really has substance when he speaks, and I can really see his heart. And I believe this young man. I believe he's going to go places. And it's not about that.
It's exciting to see somebody.
It is. It is.
I remember being 27. Got saved at 27 and called the ministry at 30. Being in my early 30s and not having a lot of opportunity, and struggling to trying to get through. To learn as much as I could, not having a whole lot of help. And
right.
That in this area, most pastors are bivocational. They don't have a lot of time to just sit and invest in you. And those of you that have a full-time pastor that does that for you, you need to thank God for that man. Thank God for, the ability that the provision he's made for you to be able to call on him is the way you do, and take care of him, try to lift him up, and do the best you can to support that ministry so
right.
that you can continue to enjoy that blessing of having that. And because not everybody has it, but I'm excited to see someone. June Massisa, she's one of our church members here.
Yes, I was reading her comment there.
Her and Brother Tom, they're from New York, the big state of New York. I know someone who grew up believing church was only about begging money. He began going to church every Sunday. He never gave money in the offering. After about 4 months with 10, he reached in his pocket, took every dollar he had, and it was a lot. He dropped it in the offering plate. I smiled inside. God was getting through to him. The next 2 weeks, he started getting all these checks in the mail from people who owed him his business money. These failed business transactions had long since been wrote off. It was the greatest testimony I've ever seen of those floodgates opening up. That is amazing.
It is, and it's not about the money. Right. It's about seeing that how God is faithful to his promises.
Amen.
That's what excites me. And I had another lady that I told her the same thing in our church. And she said, Brother Brandon, I sat and I waited. I started giving. And she said, I kept expecting this big blessing. And she said, but God showed up and started taking care of things, just little things. And that's what God does. He's not gonna back up to your door with a dump truck full of money.
Amen.
But God, you know what? I may not have a lot of money in my account, but my bills are paid.
Amen.
And pray that ain't always been the case.
Yeah.
But praise God. I mean, it's just seeing the faithfulness of who God is. And I can't, that is the one thing, Brother Tater, that I tell my people. And I don't do that a lot. I don't tell people, step out on faith on this or that. But that I do, because I'm a testimony to see it in my life,
right,
of what God, that I have proven that God is faithful. He is faithful in everything that he does. And I just love it. And I love this testimony from the sister, and God bless that man, and,
he's 33
and it's not even 33. It's, I wish everybody could come and listen to him. I mean, and we may end up having him for some more services if he's willing to come back. But he really just a good delivery. He's not going to come and bring, he's not just over. What's the word I'm looking for, Brother Tater? But he's just got a good delivery. Brother Tater watched him, and I'm excited about him coming. And it's not about the preacher, but I love the heart of the preacher. Yeah. I love the fact that the preacher is saying something, and it resonates with the people. And I love that about him. Going back, we were talking about women, and I know that especially in the Baptist churches, there are certain hot topic issues that we don't like to talk about.
Yeah. Especially
in podcasts and other things.
Oh, man.
And
it's real talk.
And it is. It's real talk. Let me start out, and I'll make a mess of things, and I'll let you clean it up.
I ain't sure that's how that's going to happen, sir.
I was not raised in the Baptist faith, even though I have family members that were Baptist. So I come up in a denomination where women did play a big part. I certainly believe that women have a role. I believe that women have ministries. But let me say very unequivocally, unapologetically, that I do not believe that a woman should be a pastor. I do not believe that. a good thing, and I'm probably going to draw a lot of criticism when I say this right here. And there's going to be a lot of our Baptist brothers that probably won't agree with me on this. As far as a woman serving in a deacon's role, a lot of people, especially the Baptists, we mess up the role of a deacon. A deacon is to be a servant. They are, yeah. Either that or they're going to burn our car. Nathaniel Bates with his popcorn emoji. Brother Nathaniel, if you will start this, what we're saying, me and Brother Tater will follow suit. But definitely women, I have women in my church. If it wasn't for them, Brother Tater, I mean, I just, I don't have any deacons, and it's not that I don't want deacons. It's just, the Bible says to look out among them and choose. And no doubt, we cannot deny, Don Jeffrey preached, there is no denying that in the Bible that there were deaconesses, and there was a specific role. Now, with that being said, does a woman have an authority over the man? Absolutely not. I mean, we would be liars to say that. So is there roles that the women play in the church? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the men, and we are living in, and men, I want you to hear me. You men are the reason why we're having to have these conversations.
Yeah.
Because you're weak. You're weak.
Tell it, boy.
You're weak.
Tell it, boy.
You won't stand up. You won't even bring your family to
Tell
church.
It, boy.
much less stand up and lead in the church.
Let me throw up that H.
Hey man. Hey, we'll get on speaking in tongues here in a minute. But we were, but what I'm saying though is, we fight over these things that are silly, and we think that women don't have a role, or they don't, and we can say, oh, you can teach the little kids, and you can do this and you can do that. But what about these women that are going and they're feeding the sick, and they're going and that was really the role of a deacon, was to do that.
That's right.
Was to go out.
Come on, somebody.
And to take care of the saints in the church.
Tell it, boy.
And I praise God that I've got women that do that. Now, I've got women that they do not try to exercise authority over the men in our church. They're very, they want the men to lead. But like I said, Brother Tater, we're seeing an age, as John the Revelator said, we are in that Laodicean church age where everybody is just content. Jesus is standing on the outside, knocking on the door, trying to get in, and we're having church without him.
Yeah.
And we're content. We don't think that we have need of anything. Men are not stepping up, being the leaders in their homes, and I got people right now. I've got women that are probably going, hey, he's a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I believe in what the Bible says. We've been talking about the military a lot here lately. My son's getting ready to go in, and I know you, sir, Brother Tater. Whether you like it or not, in the military there is a rank and file. There, everybody can't be the general. Everybody can't be the colonel. Everybody can't be the major or the captain. There are those that have roles. It doesn't make anybody any less important. It doesn't make their job less important. There are just those, there is an order, and it's the same way in our homes. The husband has to be the head. That doesn't devalue the role of the wife or the children. It just means that the man is called to lead. He was created first, and then Adam from him. And in 2025, we don't like to talk about those things because it makes people feel uncomfortable. But again, there is you were supposed to be taking this subject. I don't know how I got on it, but
you're doing pretty good.
But we have devalued the women, and now we are in the church age where that's all we got, brother.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but over 75% of my church is women, not men.
When I first started going to church as a kid, I was a teenager, and I had buddies that went to the youth group up over at Shiloh. We lived in Goose Pond, and that was where 4 or 5 of my closest friends went. So they were hey, come and go with us. So I went. I I was like every other kid in the youth group back then that didn't know the Lord. I had a form of godliness,
Right.
But just I put on the show just to get them off my back and just leave me alone and let me get on down the road. But I remember sitting in those. I'd get in trouble and they'd make me come sit in the business meetings, and I can remember sitting in those business meetings. And, they had bylaws to go by. They would have to beg men to come just to be able to go in the meeting and all.
Yeah.
Finally, it got to the place where the pastor was, Brother Milan was the only man sometimes who would that we had two deacons and only one of them might show up for the business meeting. And sometimes neither of them would show up. And, it just was what it was. So when I turned 18, I was still attending. So Milan he'd take me and a couple of the other boys, and we was 18-year-old, and we would go in, sit in the business meetings where we could, make a motion to go into conference and stuff. And I couldn't believe it. But this conversation happened when I was a teenage boy. I'll never forget it. Them sitting around the room and the women going around that table expressing their desire and how much, they were heartbroken that their wives, that their husbands would not lead. They would not lead their home, not lead their family, and would not, they just weren't interested in the church. And, I get it. They had other things to do, and I hear it all the time, and just not interested. It just ain't for me. Well, that's fine. And I lived that way too for quite a while. Didn't want to have anything to do with it. Like you said, if it hadn't been for my wife, no telling where I'd be. But I will say this, when once I started coming, same with I've heard, your wife testify this, when you converted and you made a decision to trust the Lord and you started leading your family, that, everything changed. That didn't mean everything was perfect, but everything changed. Those women had a lot easier time.
Nathaniel Bates.
Sicario's going to join the chant.
The IFB. That's funny right there. I don't care who you are.
Join the chant.
Brother Nathaniel, we ain't got on different versions of the Bible yet.
Oh, man, goodness gracious alive. Woo, praise the Lord. Kathy said, in my opinion, if man leads in a godly manner, a godly woman will follow. And she's exactly.
She is.
She is exactly right.
Well, this is the thing, Brother Tater. We can argue, and I've preached this at my church, and a lot of people laugh, but they know that I'm serious about it. God created men and women differently in the fact that men, we lead, not that we have a lot of it, but we lead with our intellect. We lead with what we know, what we see. That's a reality. Whereas women lead with their heart. Mm-hmm. And
emotions.
And their emotions, and it takes both of those things. You have to mesh those things together, and men, that's the biggest thing is I challenge our men. You'll take your kid to the ball games, you'll take them to those things that's important, but what are you going to do on Judgment Day? What's going to be your excuse? Natalie said it a while ago. She said, Frank Adams, I like that. Natalie said there's nothing more attractive, than, and I believe that. Most women,
Frank said, I told her to say
I know, that's what I was getting tickled at. I seen Brother Craig finally, Craig Holcomb, 2026 for sheriff. Throw that out there. Hey. Right. Brother Craig, if I was in Jackson County, I'd vote for you.
He is looking for sacrificial offerings.
Yes. and listen, if they don't throw me out, I'll tell you to come over at Hollywood and put a big sign up in the front right there. So, let me go to that real quick while we're on that subject. I went to school with Craig, and Craig is a good guy, and I've been so thrilled to see what the Lord has done in his life. And this county and you won't let me talk about it, so I'm not going to say a lot, but I will say this. Having to deal with some things in my life, Craig is the real deal, and this county needs a guy like him. Not that Craig is the smartest or the prettiest, because he's not. You can laugh at that.
I was going to say, I'm sitting there thinking, man, I don't think really he meets either of those.
But I will say this. Craig has a heart to serve, and I think he would do the people of this county a great job. And I would encourage, I know we as preachers are not supposed to be political, but I will be, because you know me, I'm not scared of those things.
Yeah. Well, I'm normally not either, but like I told Craig, and I told everybody, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. There's a difference in me supporting a Republican or a Democrat and me supporting my friend. Craig is my friend. I'm not gonna slap on a party shirt and holler, "Can't go to heaven if you blue or you red." I'm not gonna say that ever. And, they both terrible. They're both crooked, and
Amen.
We can argue till we're blue in the face about the extremes of both, and they both have their extremes. And if you want to get in there, that's fine. I'm not going donkey or elephant. I'm going lamb party.
Amen.
And that's just the way it is. But where it comes to these local elections, and I think people forget, especially Christians forget, that our local elections are the most. We just had one today.
Yep.
I went to vote, and I couldn't because I live in an unincorporated part of the city, or the town of Hollywood. But
if you'd have been dead, you could have voted Democrat. But
yeah, well, I mean, there you go, boy. But this is one of those. This is one of those areas where I have supported 3 political candidates in my whole life. 2 of them have been sheriff candidates. One of them was in Blount County. I couldn't vote in Blount County,
right.
but I swung my support, and I tried to help him as best I could. He's a sheriff down there today, and went to boot camp with him. I know what kind of guy he is. I've seen him under pressure, and I knew he'd handle it. And I feel the same way about Craig. I mean,
yes.
he's there was a time when I say Craig probably wasn't ready, probably couldn't handle it. And he'll have a lot to learn. He knows he'll have a lot to learn, but he's willing to get in there and take the lumps. Take him on a 10, until he gets it figured out. But and I don't have, you get me crap for saying it. I don't really care who runs against Craig. It does not matter to me who runs against Craig. I still am not going to support or try to help somebody else win.
Don't ask me that question.
Well, I'm not going to, because I know how you feel about it. But I will say this: I had a good friend who's not named Craig Holcomb that was going to run for sheriff, and he's not going to run for sheriff now. He came to me and he asked me, and for my support, and this is what I said to him: Craig's my friend, been my friend since we were little bitty kids. I'm going to support my friend. I love you. I think a lot. I consider you a friend, but I have to support Craig, and because I believe in Craig. If you run and you win, I will support you. I do not want you to fail.
Right.
Even if somebody that I don't like wins.
Right. We're commanded. The Bible commands us.
I am going to do all I can to try to make that person as successful as possible, because it's a biblical principle. Pray for the peace of the land.
Yep.
So,
and we're to subject ourselves to authority.
Exactly. A lot of people don't know, man. They talk about, they're going to take our guns. They're going to take our guns. They're going to take. That'll have to have 2 things got to happen that'll never happen. 1, 2/3 of Congress have to go in, have to have a vote to have a constitutional convention.
Right.
And then after they have it, 2/3 of them rascals will have to vote to amend the Constitution. They're never going to do that.
And then you got to pass it through the majority, 2/3 of the states.
Yes.
So it's.
But I tell you, who can take your guns is the sheriff.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The sheriff has convened that dude. Yep. That dude is the most powerful person in your county. And I know people don't like to think about that. But, if you truly want somebody.
Do you know who the second most powerful person is?
The coroner.
Coroner is.
Yeah.
It's the old Alabama law. And we've seen it over in Limestone County.
We saw it here in this county.
Yes.
He was, John David had to had to be sheriff for a little while before they appointed Rocky.
Yep.
So we know how that is. So I get it, and I don't care. I really don't care. I'm going to support my man Craig, and
Well,
I'm not going to get in the pulpit and tell while I'm preaching. I'm never going to bring that up.
Craig, I'm going to do that for you, buddy. Even though you don't come to my church,
you brown nosed rascal.
I'm going to tell them, Craig Hawkins.
You need to wipe that streak off your nose, pal.
I am. Even though I do not live in this county, Craig was a big help to me in a time when I needed him, and I will encourage everybody that I know that lives in this county. Mm-hmm. Not that I have a great influence over people, because I don't, but I want to encourage everybody I know to vote for him. And I believe Craig will be a good leader, and I believe he'll stand upon Christian principles.
Yeah.
And the day he doesn't, Brother Tater, I'll be on this podcast with you, and I'll call him out and tell him. But I don't live in fear of that. I believe Craig has always been a great guy. I went to school with him. Craig's always been Craig. He ain't never been nothing but Craig, and I respect that. And I'm looking forward to him being sheriff.
You know what?
Now, let me hold on before you get started, because I want to tell this real quick. Okay, is that okay?
Yes.
I'm sorry for being rude, but I got to tell
rude.
this.
You go ahead. We know you're rude.
So you know me. You rode with me in the car.
Oh,
right?
I sure have.
So it's been a while back. Now, Dawn, your wife, she can't handle it. But I drive a lot. I probably drive, golly, over. I know it's over 3,000 miles in a month. It's crazy how much I drive. But I was coming over the hill there from Aspel, and I think I was going pretty good, and the sheriff's I seen this police car get right up on me, and I was getting mad because I was saying, if you're gonna stop me, okay?
Yeah.
All of a sudden the blue lights come on.
Yeah.
And I pull over immediately.
He did it to you too, eh?
And he got out. He said, "What are you doing, preacher?" I said, "I guess I'm speeding, ain't I, Craig?" He said, "You're just doing 80. It ain't that bad." But and listen, he had every right to give me, he had every right to write me a ticket. I mean, he did. I was wrong. But thankfully he gave me a warning and encouraged me to slow down.
Don't, Jeffrey, did you see what I did? She put laughing faces on there. It'd be 40 seconds before he was driving the boat, not the car. Frank Helms told Craig, he said he's getting all three of his absentee ballots.
But getting back to my point, you got me off track. One thing that Craig talked about last week is he said he was talking about warning when you can, enforcing the law, warning when you can.
Yeah.
And I believe that he will do that. I believe he'll implement it with his guys. And and there's a lot of people that they need breaks, and no doubt there's terrible people out there, but the most of the people that's out here, my wife needs to hush. I mean, that's like I told her, when she's dead she can complain, but until then don't say nothing.
Oh man.
But
listen, let me take if I could step to the right here, I would, to stop those arrows that are about to come through.
Oh, yes. I'm not scared, though. It is. Craig said, got to have some empathy, and you're right, Brother Craig. And I believe if anybody does, I believe he does. And
yes,
there's people that need breaks, Mm-hmm. Just because people have addiction, they have things in their life, it doesn't necessarily make them a bad person. It makes them a person that's going, because, I just witnessed someone the other day, Brother Tater, and I told you this, that their child, drowned.
Mm-hmm.
what would that turn any of us into? And I'm not saying that that'll happen to them, but it could easily be in them to trying to buy something illegally to numb their pain, and yeah, correct, she is. but what I'm getting at is.
Brother Frank, it's the inside joke. I'll tell you later, brother. It ain't inside. It's inside the sanctuary joke. Boy, we had a good laugh Sunday. I will get to that in a minute, but finish up here.
Oh, I was just going to say, but you never know what somebody may turn to in a crisis situation that they get themselves in a bad situation. Right. And, I think a good law enforcement officer, and God bless them, they've got a hard job. They really do. And I think we have a responsibility to pray for them. I mean, I'm not going to lie. There's some out there, and you know as well as I do, they don't need to be wearing a badge. Yeah. And, but it's just like preachers. We got some preachers that do not need to be in a pulpit.
I agree.
But the majority, I believe, have a heart to do the right thing. And I'm thankful for them. And I support our police officers. I support our law enforcement. And I'm pulling for Craig. I really am. And I think he'll be the best thing for Jackson County.
I think sometimes people get it twisted up. Because we got something to say or something negative to say. People say negative things about us all the time. And they want to get mad at the preachers for speaking out, our opinions. We got opinions too.
Yep.
I don't know how many times people, they don't have to be honest on here. They're not going to be anyway, but how many times have people gone home, had a roasted preacher for lunch? You know what I mean? And they critique everything we say, everything we do, what we can do, what we can't do, what we will do, what we won't do. They beat on us, they beat on our families, and they expect us just to take it and just roll over and lay there, and then expect us not to. We're supposed to be peacekeepers. I get it, but sometimes. I am from the hood side of heaven, and it just is what it is. I don't have. You better try Jesus, because if you try me, I might throw hands. I mean, it's just.
Yes.
I got too much of that old school in me, and that's just the way I was raised. And I can't. I'm trying to do better every day, but I still stink at it. I make more of a mess out of life than I do right. What did your wife say?
She just got her hand raised up.
Hey.
I'm getting a kick out of the hams. I don't really know them, but
oh man, they're a blast.
I'm loving them.
They're a blast. Y'all don't even know him yet. Hey.
I don't know why my wife's got that hand raised. I don't know if she's praising the Lord or wanting to say something.
Probably telling you to shush it.
She may be.
Because you did say she needed to be quiet. So
Zach said Womble side of heaven.
Womble side. Well, I'm in Martintown. I'm on the Martintown side over here.
Ryland representing over here, baby.
That's right. Yeah.
Most people don't even know where Ryland's
at. Ryland represent. Oh man, you know what? I didn't know where Ryland was at until you guys, moved.
We have our own post office.
I saw that, and I saw a shed on Amazon the other day, and it was a 6x6. It was bigger than y'all's post office.
Oh, no doubt.
Oh goodness, that I critique. You're
gonna have to specify more there, babe. Don Jeffrey said, Lord, don't expect you to be a doormat for anyone.
Come on with that. Now listen, Don Jeffrey coming in with a little hood rat.
Yeah.
OG.
I see that.
Yeah.
I see that. And you're exactly right, though. I mean, people expect us to always be calm and always to have everything put together. And I tell people, listen, I'm the world's worst. Mm-hmm. I have emotions, I have feelings. And I get tempted and say things that I shouldn't, and I repent, and just because we're called into ministry, certainly we're on no pedestals.
I see all these people comment. Everything reminds me of a song, and boy, I'm about to really get in trouble here, but I'll tell you, I see all these people commenting.
Look at my wife's.
It says, I go home and criticize the pastor.
You know, let me tell.
At least you're doing it to his face.
Let me tell y'all all what my wife told me. Okay. So my wife, I made a comment when we started seeing all the election signs there, all the political signs there in Hollywood. And I told Christy, I said, hey, Christy, I said, let's move to Hollywood so I can run for mayor. She said, Brandon, she said, you can't even get people to come to church. What makes you think you're going to get them to vote for you? So, woo, I tell you, she just slapped me right in the face.
I told Dawn on the way home the other day, I said, it's a good thing I didn't try to qualify for office in Hollywood because I wouldn't have been able to run for anything. You know, where I live, you can't even run for dog catcher. So this is here.
Praise the Lord.
Here it is. Hey, I said, we moved back to Scottsboro. I'll run for office down there. She said, absolutely not. You'll do it as a single man if you don't do it. So, here we are. I used to let people run over me. Not today, Satan. Hey, man. I tell you, back to what I was saying, I see all these people asking, saying where they're from, Edgefield side of heaven, Wanville side of heaven, Ryland. You know, I think about that song, North Carolina, come on and raise up.
My wife said I never said that. She is lying. She did say that. We were on County Road 33. We had just left church. And we were riding. It was dark outside. We were driving my car. So yes, she did say that.
Asked Tater how Don reacted when he said he was going to. Well, I just told that she just was not. She was not having it. And Christy, I think I do remember you making that comment a second time actually in our presence.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
You know, and if you didn't, you still did. Because Brandon said you did.
That's right. That's right. The man has spoke.
Greg said, if I get sheriff, I'll make you the dog. I do not want to be the dog catcher. There's too many strays running around as it is.
He didn't even want the dog he had, Craig.
You're exactly right. I have a solution.
My wife had to come. Problem. My wife had to come rescue it.
Yeah, she did. She came and she played the part of Moses that day, and she parted the gravel sea for that mangy rascal that we had called a pet.
And that dog is in heaven now.
That dog is living her best life, and so am I.
Yes.
That's right.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
I've got 3 I can't get rid of.
Yeah. So you saying your 3 ain't showers of blessings? They just showers or something, man.
Those showers, yeah. Craig said, don't let him lie. He really liked the big fluffy poodle.
Dawn, you did too say that if I ran for office, that I would have to do it as a single man. You weren't going to put. Don't make me show my hood, Christy said. Uh-oh.
Nobody's worried about her.
Blowgourd side of heaven here. I hear that, Cody.
Blowgourd. Been a while since I've heard about a blowgourd.
Man, you know, I want to talk about something else too.
Sure,
right?
sure.
Let's change the subject just a little bit.
Absolutely.
We're closing in on 2 hours.
That's all right. You got somewhere to be? Oh, you got to work tomorrow.
I do got to work tomorrow. I know you don't.
You got to show up.
You work whenever you want to. So
well, to a degree.
3 a.m, you just head out if you can't sleep or whatever.
Right.
There's something that's been. It don't irk me. I just think it's just on my mind. But being as you grew up around, the back parts of this county, mm-hmm. and I lived a great part of my life, in a small community in this county. I found that every place, just about, if it's not a big city, if it's a rural area, they all have the same thing. These little towns and little communities that we have named. This county has some of the greatest names.
Oh, absolutely.
In anywhere in the whole.
I love telling people, especially Madison County people, because we got like Bug and Egg and Butter Road up there, mm-hmm. and people I said, let me tell you, I said, I grew up, we had black ankle, we had chicken foot,
Yeah.
we had blow gourd, we had Crow Mountain.
Yeah.
And they're going, y'all had what?
Yeah. Yeah. Rash.
Rash,
Shake rag.
shake rag,
Womble.
Wanville,
Woovel.
Wooville.
Eureka. Bass.
Bass, yes.
Blowgourd. Mud Creek.
Yes.
Martintown. You know, it's just, golly. And it goes on, the list just goes on and on and on. Pleasant Grove.
Craig said Yucca, just
Yeah. Low Gap, which is
low
a mountain.
Yep. Yeah. Happy Holler
Yeah.
up there
Yeah.
that's nobody's allowed to go to, I don't think.
I mean, that's,
yeah.
you can go, but,
Hogjaw Valley.
yeah,
Craig.
Hogjaw Valley. Forgot about that. Yeah.
Possum Slick Road. Kathy Helm said we had a Possum Slick Road.
Was that in Colorado? Oh goodness.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so.
Chicken foot. I forgot about chicken foot. You sure are right, Brother Roger.
Yeah, Little Coon, Big Coon.
Lick skillet, slap out.
Now, Craig, I'm not familiar with Twin Lakes.
Coon Gulf. I ain't familiar with that one either.
Twin Lakes. Where's Twin Lakes?
Man, I feel like Johnny Cash now. I've been everywhere, man.
I mean,
I've been to Lick Skillet, Pop Slick, Blow Gourd, Blow
Fackler,
Gap,
Roach's Cove.
Cedar Switch. Yeah.
I mean, you name it.
Man alive.
Cedar Switch, yeah.
Carnes.
Tater Naan, Carnes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Edgefield.
Man.
I mean, you name it. That's
Bridgeport.
do we still consider Bridgeport in Alabama, or is it?
Well, it's
Do we share it with Tennessee?
I think Tennessee rejected it, but they honestly, man, Bridgeport is not all that bad. I know it gets a bad rap,
It's actually kind of cool, the history behind it.
It really is.
It
really is. Bridgeport is an actual, especially when you get away from the downtown area. It's not. I don't know if you've ever been up on Battery Hill. Mm-hmm. Battery Hill is one of the most beautiful places.
Oh yeah, a lot of history. A lot
of stuff. Up there, but still today, it's beautiful. You can go up there and stand and you just have a look around. It is absolutely gorgeous up there, and. Then you got Kings Cove over there, across the state line, Sweden's Cove, I think they call it.
Well, you lived up that way, and you pastored a church.
I did. I lived across the river up there in New Hope. Some of my church members still live up there. That was that's where I learned that there was a place called Guild, Tennessee, and Guild is huge. I had no idea that Guild was such a massive land space, but it is. Yeah. There's it covers a lot of area, but New Hope was one of those. It was a weird place, man. It was when I moved from Scottsboro to New Hope, Tennessee. Me and Don laugh about it all the time. Like, we didn't sleep for the first 2 weeks because all we could hear. We went from 18-wheeler trucks and ambulance sirens and fire truck sirens and police sirens and just lots of noise and racket. We moved to Tennessee and it was crickets. Well, that's all we could hear. And it's like, just like they put megaphones. It's like they gave them crickets Joe David Moore's lungs. Them dudes was so loud and they all sang at the same time. It was like chirp, 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 chirp. You know what I mean? Just wake up out of the bed. It was great.
And talking about Tennessee.
Hodge, Kyle's, Mulberry Holler. Good night. I forgot about all those places.
I don't know.
What's that place down there? Going up, if you go towards Skyline there on the left.
Letcher.
Little Coon, Big Coon, Letcher, but Boxes Cove.
Boxes Cove, yeah.
Golly, man, there's just so many different places around through here.
Yes. People don't even. And Brother Tater, we live in a little community called Ryland, which is we're right against the city of Huntsville. And people don't realize that the city of Huntsville is incorporating everything over in Madison County. And actually, Huntsville, a lot of people don't know this, Huntsville is actually incorporated land in Limestone County, Morgan County,
Marshall County,
and have they got some in Marshall?
It's Crossroads. They've gone down in over into Marshall County now, and
I didn't think they had reached Marshall County yet.
I'm pretty sure they have.
Because I worked at New Hope, worked at the funeral home over there, and we always called it the boot. We were in the boot over there, and it was a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, the city of I know a lot of their.
The city limits may not be out into Marshall County yet.
Well, I'm talking about city limits, but yes, you are correct. The city of Huntsville is actually one of their main water pumping stations or whatever is right over there, not far from the Gunnersville Dam, right there.
Right.
And they've got a big water. You can actually go down 431 there and see that, and it's amazing of how big. That it is and how much it's incorporating. And people in Jackson County, they don't know how blessed they are to have, it may be a lot of rural area, but man, I mean, it's some of the most
rural over there where you live. It used to be cornfields and
my wife's great grandfather where we lived. I mean, he was a cattle farmer. And actually on the other side of my house there, that water treatment plant that the city of Huntsville owns, the Flint River runs right there by it, and that was all cattle land at one time. Yeah. Now we got a whole subdivision, other houses, just
fancy ones too.
It's well,
man, y'all back there in mansion land.
I live back in the poor side. I live in the shack to the mansions, but I mean, and it's just amazing just to see how quickly this area. But it also tells me one thing, that there's a lot of opportunity for us to share the gospel. And Brother Tater, one thing that I do love is that me and you, as close as we are, and even our churches are close in proximity. I'm not in competition with you. You're not in competition with me, and it has thrilled me to see what God has done for Mud Creek, and to see the people that has come in, the baptisms, the people that have come to know Christ through the ministry here, and if it never happens at Hollywood, I'm glad to see it happen here.
And I'd be the same way, man.
And I want to see, we're not in competition.
That's right.
None of us are in competition. The only thing that I want to encourage people is, if you have talents, use those talents. And if you're in a church, and I'm probably going to get the mafia after me on this too, the Sicarios, but I've never understood, and I've said this and I'll keep saying it. I see so many people that we see a lot of small churches, Brother Tater, that are dying out. Some of it to their own detriment, things that's happened. But we see some that are really struggling, that want to be effective in their communities, but they're dying out because they're going to the bigger churches. And it's like, you may have 10 piano players in one church. And who was we looking at?
Craig said they just took some land in Marshall County a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, did they? Okay.
They just annexed it, so it's going to be city.
Yeah, and I mean, and you're gonna keep seeing it. But going back to what I was saying about the I want to encourage you, serve where the Lord has give you talent. If you're a piano player, if there's a small, and you got 10 other piano players, I say, God, would you have me to go to a smaller church, even if it's just for a short time, so that you can help out and to grow. Because, I'll tell you, it's all about growing the kingdom of God. It's not about growing personal kingdoms and how big that we can make churches. I mean, I want to see churches grow, but bless God, let's help one another.
Yeah.
Let's help one another.
I was just thinking, I saw a comment come in there. It's funny that a guy going to come in and take a jab at you, but he won't answer your phone calls.
Who? I didn't.
Hey, he said Brandon's just a city slicker.
Who said that?
Austin Holcomb.
Oh, yes. I've tried to get an appointment with him, but I can't get him to call me back. So,
that's how it goes, ain't it, buddy?
Yes, it is. I'm really, I'm not a city slicker. Me and Christy, we've talked about,
I beg to differ. Y'all love Now,
We love the
if
convenience.
Christy's watching, Christy, comment on this now if you're still watching. And I've heard this. We've had conversations. You probably don't remember this, Brandon, but I've heard her say she don't want to live more than 15 minutes away from town. And her idea of town ain't Scottsboro.
Oh yeah, Scottsboro, and God bless it, Scottsboro has grown by leaps and bounds.
It's trying.
But yes,
We're trying over here.
But yes, it does not have the amenities that you know.
I mean, we got running water. I mean, we got 6 grocery stores, and we got 322 Dollar Generals and thrift stores and stuff to shop at. I mean, there's no reason that we can't have everything. Y'all leave my son-in-law love alone. He's a busy man. Christy said, "Here I am." Christy, help me out now. Help me out. Brandon said he's not a city slicker. Is that true? Is he a country boy or a city slicker?
I'm not a country boy, but I'm not. I mean, I love being in the country. And I've told her, but now me and her's had this big discussion because we're talking about selling her house and buying another house. And I actually want to be closer to the city because we're getting older. She works and I want less yard. Not that I'm on my yard now, but you know, things like that I'm looking at. And she did. She said she has to be 10 minutes of a McDonald's. And
listen to what your boy said. Brannigan with the heat.
Christy can be away from the city. Amazon has been invented. Craig Holcomb says Scottsboro's got 942 Mexican restaurants, 625 furniture stores. And Craig, you know what's funny about that is even though we live right outside of Huntsville, we do a lot of shopping over here in Scottsboro. We actually bought furniture at the Ashley Furniture Store, you know. Mm-hmm. You know, so
y'all do actually, honestly, you guys do spend a lot of time and a lot of money over here. I've often wondered why y'all don't just move back this way, but I understand with where she works, grandchild on the way now, and your jobs. Your job, even you're kind of in the middle of.
I'm about dead middle of where I need to be. Yes.
You know, and
I'm be in Scottsboro in 30 minutes. I can be in Marshall County in no time.
And she works. Your wife works in the medical field. She's a nurse at Huntsville Hospital.
Women and children's postpartum.
So you know, it ain't. It ain't. And she works the night shift too. So
yes.
I mean, you know, travel and stuff has got to be consideration for you guys, and I know you don't mind it as bad. But
it's tougher on her than it is me. Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't know how. I used to be the same way, but the older I get, the worse it gets.
And Christy just said we'll probably, and we may have to live over this way for a few months, and you know, and me and Christy, when we first got married, we actually lived over here in Scottsboro. We love Scottsboro. Mm-hmm. We love Jackson County. Love the people here. You know, I was born and raised, and you know, who knows? My final resting place when my time comes, maybe here in Jackson County. I don't know.
She wants to live close to her friend, and don't go to wash her drawers. Oh man, lie. See, they thought.
Have we gotten anything accomplished?
I don't think so, man. Yeah, we had fun. That's all that matters.
I know we talked about women and in the place in the church.
And tithing
and tithing, and so we probably created a big storm with those two things.
You know what though? We've had a ball doing it, man.
Craig said, live over here around May and change your voter registration. Brother, that may happen. You never know.
Hey, man, you know what? Just for a little while. That's all you got to do.
That's right.
Go down to the courthouse, make it official.
Right.
You know, just say, hey, it's just home address now. Get a piece of mail, and you're golden, brother.
That's true. That's true. And again, I will, you know, Craig, if you want to put a big bumper sticker on my car, or I'll slap it on there.
Yeah.
And you know, and the funny thing about it is there's other people in law enforcement that know Craig as well.
Oh, I gotta butt in. Absolutely not, Don Jeffrey. You hush that up right now.
I didn't. I wasn't able to say.
Well, she said.
Oh, matching car. Yes, praise the Lord. Kita my Honda.
Who stole the key to my Honda?
We're going to
gonna steal the key to your Toyota. You keep talking.
We're gonna have the Pentecostals on this now. Pentecostals, we are not making fun of you. I promise you.
Listen.
We love y'all. And
I think that's another thing too that bothers a lot of people these days is the fact that we're so divided about every single thing.
Yeah.
And listen, I don't agree. You said it a while ago. I may not agree with every single thing you believe. You may not agree with every single thing I believe. And I may worship different than you. I may practice
right.
some things that you don't practice, or you practice things that I don't practice. And that's totally fine. At the end of the day, though, our jobs, the Great Commission, is to fill heaven.
Amen.
Do the best we can to try to lead people to the Lord.
Yes.
And if we'll I think if we started focusing on just doing our jobs and stop focusing on what everybody else was doing, I get it. Some people, they don't matter what you do. They're not going to leave you alone. They're going to constantly bash. I just don't have time for that stuff anymore.
No, it's not worth it. And
yeah, they can have all that junk.
What's that? I can't remember the saying. What is it? Something about busy hands.
Yeah.
Other words, if you're busy, you don't have time to be paying attention to everybody else.
Exactly right. You just get out and do your part, and you won't have time to worry about me, and I won't have time to worry about you.
Right.
It's just kind of how it's got to go, I guess.
I don't know what my son is saying there. This reminds me of the Bigfoot podcast. What do you know what he's talking about?
The Bigfoot podcast.
Yes.
Famous last words coming from your mouth. That's because every time I say absolutely not, she ends up,
Go for it.
Not this time. No, unless you're gonna get a second job, or
go for it.
Don't you better go ahead and get you another job and start saving for it.
Let the man lead. Let the man lead.
There you go.
That was spam calling. Let the man lead.
What is the Bigfoot podcast, Brandon? Fill me in, because
I need to know that.
I need to go listen to that if it's a real thing.
Craig Hawkins says we ain't in a good enough shape to be Pentecostal.
You're exactly right, brother.
Amen.
I am not in good enough shape.
Amen.
Here's the thing about it. I have some friends that are apostolic holiness, man, and they have I know you came up in that too yourself, and they were Brother Greg Gillums, who it is, matter of fact, and he used to be up in Bridgeport before he moved down at Claysville, where he's at now. But some of the finest people, man, I've ever been around, and some of my greatest friends in the whole world. And we don't see everything the same, but I am so happy about what the Lord is doing in their church and in His life, and God has done some great works. We're tickled about that.
Nathaniel Bates said that was the IFB call. That is great. I love that.
No, if Brandon would let me go to the Smokies, we could car shop.
Hey, you know what? And I know DeKalb County, they've got a good sheriff. I don't know really.
Totally avoid the question.
No, we'll come back to that. But if we get Craig, and then if Craig can serve a while, I know, I seen that too. I got tickled. So if we can get Craig elected, could we not turn around and maybe when that time comes, he run for sheriff?
I think Nathaniel was actually a very strong supporter of Nick when Nick ran over there.
Yes. And he's actually a pastor. Is that right?
Nathaniel is a pastor.
No.
I don't know if Nick is or not. Nathaniel, can you tell us is the sheriff over there a pastor as well?
I think he's at least a preacher, if I'm not mistaken. Because I remember that, and I'm not trying to pit them against one. I'm just making a statement.
You know what, Nathaniel? I hope you got your phone handy, big guy. Let's see here.
I can't sing, period, and sure can't run laps and sing. And that's why, Craig, you need to be the sheriff so you don't have to run after nobody. You be in that supervisor position.
You know what? My phone is messed up.
Is not available. At the tone, please record your message when you have.
Yeah.
Brother Craig said, "Slick, how you changed the subject there, Brother Brandon." I'm practicing on my
Nathaniel
political.
ain't gonna answer. He's afraid we finna put him. He don't want them IFBs on him, baby. He don't want Sicario on him. Oh, Craig, this dude is slick as grease now. He's like baby snot. He is like Al Snot. He is preaching. He is actually preaching a revival this week.
I thought he was okay.
Yeah, he did, Craig. He sent me the voicemail. Man, that's not good for your political career there, Nathaniel. You know what I'm reminded of, though? We're kind of giving Nathaniel a hard time, but I remember after that election was over with, and the beating that Nathaniel Bates took for backing his friend, and I imagine it's going to be similar to the one I get for backing mine, and I'm going to be just like Nathaniel was. I don't really care. He's my friend. I think he'll do a good job. I'm going to support him. Doesn't matter what anybody else thinks.
Talking about Brother Nathaniel there, and I'm friend, and I don't know him as well as you do, but I remember and I don't mean this in a negative way, but Brother Nathaniel was, he kind of got on, I don't want to say tirade, but I get on tirades, but was talking about a lot of the things that were going on, and I appreciate him as in law enforcement, standing up for that. That he says that we're not going after what we really need to go after, that it's all about the money, and it's about those things that they can easily make revenue, and we are bad in Alabama politically, that we are really corrupt. I'm not saying everybody that it's in an office, but I know, I don't want to say names, but I know this. I say I know it to be a fact, but I know it to be a pretty reliable source, that one of our legislators who is in the state house, that when he first got elected, they pulled him back in a room and they told him, they said, you vote this way. And they said, if you don't vote this way, your district, your area will never get any type of funding the whole time that you're in office. And, and that's that. People don't realize, when Paul said that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness in high places, those are the things that he is really talking about, And again, I don't want to, you're going to kill me, but I'm going to say this. And whether you support the man or whether you don't, that's why they hate Trump, because of the wickedness that he has exposed. And like I said, whether you like him, whether you don't, but now it's funny, the second term, that people are seeing that what he has said has been the truth. And you even see those people that were strongly against him in his first term, that now they're saying and they're agreeing with him that the things that he's doing and trying to do, has need to be done. Is he the most, does he say things that he shouldn't? Absolutely, and again, and I tell people all the time, I said, look, we didn't elect a Sunday school teacher. We elected a man to run the country. And whether you like him or not, and again, I'm not trying to be political, we have a duty to pray for him, just like we did Joe Biden. Just like we did Joe Biden. We had a duty and a responsibility to pray for him. But it's, again, going back to that, those are the things as Christians that we are battling against, those spiritual wickedness in high places, those places of influence over our life.
Right.
And, and we get scared to talk about those things. So going back to Brother Nathaniel, I'm glad that he stood up. And a lot of people would, even Baptist preachers would probably condemn him for the things that he was saying. But I'm right there with you, Brother Nathaniel. I support what you say. And, because it's right. It is right. What he was saying was right. And it's a shame that, that we have to do that. Frank Helm said Trump 2028. I think we know which side he votes for, right?
Well, these Creek Squad, and there's some on each side that go here, and it's Scottsboro North Jackson week, so I say that this is one of them weeks where we're almost a house divided, and I have to remind people that we're still on the same team ultimately.
Well, speaking of that, and I know we've been on here for a while. but I do want to ask you, talking about, we're in that time of season where it's football season.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Alabama, we love football.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's our third season.
It's yes, and we love it. I mean, it's a very competitive sport. I loved it when Brannigan played. Allen played a little bit, but I mean, you get so involved with it. But it is kind of scary too, in a sense. And what I'm going to get to is about the situation that has happened over in Deschler.
Yeah.
And I don't know all the details, but there is some things that sounds fishy. I don't know. I hope that it was not like that. But I certainly hope that nobody is trying to protect a football program in any kind of way, because I'm all about football. I mean, and I know that it's a big money revenue for the schools. I mean, there's no sense in lying about that. It is. I'm not against that. But you don't know what kind of responsibility that the boy himself played in that role. Certainly, he didn't deserve what happened to him, whether it was accidental or purposefully done or whatever. But it breaks my heart, because that could have easily been my child. It could have easily been your child. That they were doing CPR on, and they had to med flight out to UAB. And I pray that community, that somebody will step up and do the right thing. And the truth, well, we know the truth is going to come out eventually, one way or the other. But but kind of you being a chaplain of the football program there at North Jackson, what is kind of the sentiment of the schools? Are the other football programs, are they talking about it? Are you hearing anything about this?
It is football season, and as with any program, really, it is they're trying to focus on what they're every school is just trying to stay focused on what they got going on. But I think it's in the back of all their minds that we are a fallen creature. We are human
Absolutely.
beings. We're fallen people, and we do some ignorant things sometimes. And kids, we were boys, we were young boys.
Oh, absolutely.
And we did some very, very stupid things. Well, and they turned out bad, but they didn't start out. Those are not every one of us has done something
Absolutely.
that we didn't intend for it to go as far as it went.
Absolutely.
Get as bad as it did, but it railroaded on us. We started out with a little kitten, petting a little kitten. Next thing you know, you got a tiger by the tail, and it's dragging you around.
Right.
And that's that. I think this may be one of those situations, and I hope it's not. But
me too.
I hope it legitimately is just an accident. I really do.
Me too, bro.
I hope that's the case. But I think everybody in leadership, in any kind of school system today, we understand that things can get out of hand in a hurry. And at the end, and you said it a minute ago, the truth's going to come out. They probably already know the truth. And if there's any wrongdoing involved in that, they probably already know the truth, but to a degree, and I'm not trying to, if the public knew, if the worst, and that was done to him, and the public found out about it, that might be a kid who maybe they were just roughhousing, and then that happened, and they could be being silent as a protection to protect the kid from the public. When the whole truth comes out, it may look a lot different than the
absolutely.
the public opinion. A lot of times, I think in the court of public opinion, we get crucified. We're convicted and
absolutely.
under the jail a lot of times.
Absolutely.
Before and people don't even know the whole story. And sometimes people don't even take the time to find out the whole story. They just roll with what they think.
Brother Taylor, I remember in fourth grade, I was at Nelson, Miss Selvage's class. And I never was a bad kid. I didn't bully anybody, didn't do those things.
What happened to you?
I got saved. But
You got Baptist. That's what happened.
I got Baptist. No, I mean, I truthfully, the Bible says that no, not one of us, none is righteous. But I remember one time, I used to love to watch wrestling.
Yep.
I mean, TBS baby, and we'd watch wrestling. And anyways, I had a good friend in there. And got to wrestling with him one time, got him in the chokehold. Mm-hmm. He was smaller than me, and I choked him, and didn't realize how bad that I was really choking him.
Mm-hmm.
And it scared me, and I didn't mean it. And, and I could have really hurt that kid. And I get what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
And I know people don't like for you to say, well, boys will be boys and stuff like that. And I agree. It can be taken way too far. But again, if there is a situation like that, then we have to remember that other kid. He is a kid. He's immature. His
Mm-hmm.
brain doesn't think on the level of maturity.
Yeah.
And it's still somebody's kid. What if that was our kid as well? I mean, you have to look at all sides of that.
If he, I mean, you got to factor in that it might not have been malicious, and and we're just talking worst hypothetically here, and I hate hypothetical. We don't know.
Absolutely.
They're doing an investigation, and I'm sure they'll figure out what happened exactly.
Yeah, and let it work out.
And it'll work itself out. And but at the end of the day, you want justice for somebody who was done wrong. And look at here, he's not going to be able to hear you because my phone's busted where you hit me with a paddle there, Brandon. But I'm gonna hold him up where you can at least hear him, Brandon.
Okay, I can hear.
Nathaniel, how you doing, brother?
Listen to y'all, buddy. Doing good.
Well, we know that you're not short on opinions, and so we were calling you to get yours a minute ago.
Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you. I'll tell it. They don't like it though.
Yeah, we know. We kind of moved on from that topic. We'll move back on it just for a few minutes though, because I know, you got some interesting things to say. A while back, you're always, you're never short on being the topic of discussion over in DeKalb County, anyways. But I had no idea sometimes, how you never know really sometimes how your law enforcement thinks about the things that are going on.
Right.
And that's what me and Brother Brandon were sitting here discussing is like, for all the bad that we feel like is out there, seeing somebody stand up and, and say the obvious, things for a change, and then watch the beating that ensued, because of it, the heat that you got for it. I know at the end of the day, you didn't care, but it is scary. It takes a lot of courage to step out there and say what needs to be said. And we appreciated you doing that. But what was the backlash like for you after you make those kind of comments?
Really, the backlash, it comes from the people really that you would think that would have common sense to realize what's going on. Mainly, you got taxpayers out here, and if we're solely focused on, let's say, marijuana, for instance, and I'll just say it plain out. I mean, you stop somebody for a joint, you take them to jail. Well, they just paid you a couple hours to book them. They're going to turn around and get right back out within an hour. And you took $5 worth of marijuana, and they've turned around, and by the time it's all said and done, you've paid deputies, you've paid jailers, you've paid judges, courts. I mean, the taxpayers will be out for $5. They'll be out $6,000 time it's said and done. And then they pull the stuff out of the stores, which, I mean, if they want to do it, I mean, we're talking about alcohol. It's been proven how much worse the alcohol is as opposed to cannabis or all this other stuff. But the taxes and all that, they don't want it to be out there because it's a money grab. And boy, they don't like when you say that. They don't like it. I mean, they call it devil's lettuce, and I have no desire. I couldn't smoke it if I wanted to. And it's crazy that people that can't see through. Why would they do that? Whenever you go out here and deal with somebody, you never know who's riding up down the road, plastered drunk, that's going to hit a family. And I mean, it blows my mind. And then they'll pull it out, and then we'll keep paying $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, for something that people go buy at the store and get out here and drive drunk and kill somebody. And to me, it don't make sense. Backlash.
Can you hear me, Brother Nathaniel?
I can.
Let me ask you this question. So, you're on the front lines. You and Craig certainly are with that. And I know there's a lot of scientific data out there, and people say, oh, pot is just as dangerous. And I'm like you. I'm not advocating it. I agree with you that the drinking, can have a lot more, it's more of a depressant, that can have a lot quicker effects than probably smoking pot. But with you doing the job that you do, what do you, in your opinion, besides all of the scientific data that's out there, I mean, if it was left up to you, and I think you kind of already answered the question, but would you rather cut somebody loose that's had a couple of drinks, even if they're not legally drunk, or would you rather cut that person loose that maybe just smoked a joint?
I would rather cut the person. Now, in my opinion, I mean, if a person smoked a joint, I would rather cut them loose. And yeah, I think I would. I'd rather cut that person loose. And because somebody that's drinking, let's say, okay, Craig can attest to this. Somebody that's drinking, they're just under the legal limit where they drive, and that alcohol in their system they could just chug a half a bottle of whiskey, and they're not over the limit. And if we let them go home, and next thing you know, we're at a domestic because the husband or wife has got.
We lost it.
Because if out of all the hundreds and thousands of calls that we've been to, you get somebody that is drunk, that is one of the most dangerous individuals that you can encounter, especially in a domestic violence situation. And about 95% of them situations arise out of infidelity and alcohol abuse.
Wow.
But that's what people don't want to talk about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
And marijuana, I mean, am I advocating for it? Absolutely not. Do we arrest people for it? Is it against the law? Absolutely. Do I think, if they got it, I mean, I feel like it's my job to enforce the law. It's on the books, but I don't want to be portrayed as a money grabber or something like that. Like, somebody's driving drunk, that's a no-brainer. Like, they're going to jail. I mean,
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people don't see that. They see it being at the store and they see it harmless, but they see, marijuana is something terrible. And I'll tell you nowadays, like I said, when we're chasing the wrong thing or really worried about the wrong thing, is right now with the flood of fentanyl that's coming into the country, if we turn all of our resources and we're hunting solely marijuana and we're getting all bent out of shape out of it, well, they take all this money to go and get all this stuff from these gas stations and all that stuff, the CBD, we're talking about 0.03% of THC and all that, while fentanyl is literally, and when I say literally, from 15-year-old to 24-year-old right now, just in this county, there's been 14 overdose deaths fentanyl related.
And Brother Nathaniel, let me say this. Working on the funeral home side of it, especially in Madison County, I agree with you. People don't realize how dangerous that fentanyl is and how quickly that it can kill someone, and just the effects that it has on a body once somebody has passed away. I mean, our body goes through a process, But I have seen with the use of fentanyl how quickly that is just sped up, and no doubt it has to be very dangerous. And I agree with you. Why not turn your resources, and focusing on that stuff, rather than just those quick things that they find at the gas station and cracking down on that stuff. I agree with you. I just don't understand, why, you're cracking down on those things that at one point we said we're going to make it legal. And now because of politics, we've changed it and said we're not going to, but yet there's doesn't seem to be any step up. And I know you guys, you're doing your jobs. You have to do what's on the books and you can only do what the law tells you to do. I get all of that. But it's really sad though that politics even plays a part into it, and people that's never experienced the fentanyl and just the effects, and you see it a lot more than I do, but I do see it in my job, and I see just how devastating that it can be, and just how dangerous it is, and to you see it firsthand or experience it, I don't think people realize how dangerous the fentanyl is.
Yeah, absolutely. We take right now, if we go and we stop a car and let's say, that's the reason why we had already crossed that bridge with CBD and that stuff that was somewhat regulated to where we knew, to where they wasn't going to be smoking fentanyl-laced marijuana. So now if we go get something that's from outside of that, there's a almost 100% chance that whenever I hit it with a fentanyl test kit, that's including methamphetamine. That's all. It's going to pop hot for fentanyl just because it's being mass produced across the border and it's getting brought over here. Well, we had the stuff in the gas stations and, it was fine. They was getting their tax money off of it. Then all of a sudden, bam, they pull it back off and then they make it a felony.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But we're putting all that money into that whenever we literally have I don't know what the right word will be if it's, we got the opioid epidemic, but this right here has turned into a crisis. It is terrible. It's everywhere you turn. Every bit of drugs that we touch is going to test hot for fentanyl. And a lot of people don't understand we focus on, so alcohol, 100% against it, marijuana, 100% against it, but what are we going to put our focus to? We're going to put it to something that somebody can go buy and it's in the gas station or whatever, or we're going to put it on really what we should be focusing on as far as fentanyl and methamphetamine and stuff of that nature. Stuff that, to me, if we get marijuana, there's going to be a 95% chance the houses that in Craig, and even he can attest to this, most of the time when we get marijuana, there's going to be something else there. We're going to get that person with, whatever drug it is, or they're going to go to jail. Yeah, they're going to get charged with marijuana. But I guess the lesser of the two evils, you weigh marijuana and alcohol together, it's a no-brainer. But it is so far, alcohol is so much more dangerous to society than marijuana could ever be. And you're like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe he's saying that. I know there's probably people on here who be texting my sheriff I can't believe he just said that. I don't care. It's the facts. It's the truth.
Well, since we've dug you a hole, I'm going to ask this to you and Brother Tater both. And I know how I'm going to answer it, and I'll answer my own question to you, but I want to ask both of you guys this. Let's say that we have a church member who is terminally ill with cancer. There's no hope of this person. Doctors come in, they're going to die. Myself, if the doctor says, hey, smoking cannabis, CBD or whatever is going to help you, it's going to make you comfortable, I'm not condemning that person. And I'm saying you do. Yeah. And so, yeah, I'm right there with you, brother. So, but I'm saying it as pastors, Brother James, what do you say?
I've been on that same side for a long time. I even go a step farther. I've had this conversation with a few local people in the political arena. I'm with you guys. I'm 100% against it.
Absolutely.
If it's illegal, there's no sense in it doing anything that's illegal. I got to be against it. I go a step farther. All of these places that are wet, once people started going wet, these people in these dry places, they're not driving a mile down the road, getting their case of beer and driving back to the house and then drinking it. They're driving 35, 40 minutes down the road, buying their case of beer, and they got 6 drunk before they get back up the mountain.
No.
Then they're dangerous. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where I get, Nathaniel's argument is here, and I'm with him on that. I think probably the thing that opened my eyes is when I started seeing, people being ruthless with this fentanyl stuff, putting it on dollar bills, and
Oh yeah.
you know what I mean. Police officers coming in contact with it just on routine traffic stops and having to have treatment, on the side of the road and nearly losing their life. And
we keep Narcan in some of the areas that I work in just because of exposure with someone, that and again, I'm not that familiar probably as Craig and Nathaniel, but I mean, it's sad that we have to be that proactive in protecting ourselves against those things.
Well, I'm with you guys on that. I honestly, if I just had to have an opinion, it's not that I'm not agreeing that anything that's illegal is good or
we're all going to be getting letters.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. But I'm like you guys. The stuff that is the stuff that's going to kill you, and the stuff that's taking innocent lives, and the stuff that's taking the lives of people who really have no idea, that they're on the edge of a cliff. That's really the stuff that we should be focusing on. We live in a part of the country where there's another thing that people don't like to talk about. Our little girls, our young ladies, they're within an hour of 2 of the biggest hubs to get people out of this country in a matter of hours.
Yep, trafficking.
Somebody can be, trafficked out. That's something that nobody would like to talk about either. Those are resources that we could be dumping in, but instead we're hooking people up for joints, and you know what I mean? And we got trained professionals out here beating the streets looking for, somebody toting a dime bag of weed down the road. And,
we had the bridge crossed is what and I felt like we went so far back.
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, it was one thing to where, okay, we knew if we found it, was it hard to distinguish hemp from, cannabis? Yeah, it smells the same, looks the same. There may be slight variances, but we could have a discretion, if they had their store receipt, hey, go on about it. But they're dumping billions of dollars and people's getting their pockets lined, but we've got people coming up missing. We've got people getting trafficked, sex trafficking. I mean, fentanyl. Right? Why couldn't we use that money instead of dumping it in for ads and all this other stuff? Why can't we go against stuff like the serious stuff? Like, to me, the stuff that is terrible for society. But I mean, everybody, the majority of people, I mean, they say, okay, well, this is bad. Well, if you go pluck grass out of the ground and you eat it, that's terrible. It'd be a dumb choice. I don't have a desire to go get drunk or whatever. Just like you said, like right now, if I wanted to go buy beer, I'd have to go 15 minutes up the road to Henniger or 15 minutes to Rainsville. And anybody, I mean, I ain't always lived right. I know exactly what I would do. As soon as I got in the truck, I'd put it behind the seat and you'd grab one. You'd try to drink 2 or 3 before you got home. And you don't know, well, I'll turn down this dirt road, go try to spotlight some deer. And next thing you know, you're done halfway through it and bust somebody in the intersection or pull out in front of somebody, cause them to hit you. Then it's your fault and your whole life's ruined.
Right.
And it's just, I'm against all that stuff, but I think our focus, like we'd cross that bridge. We got laws in place. Like you get caught driving, drinking and driving, you're going to jail. The repercussions for that. And we got people that enforce that. But as far as the drug and they going absolute bonkers over gas station weed, and the people that we arrest, they laugh about the gas station. Well, they're not getting their weed from the gas station. I mean, they're going to bust it off a brick somewhere. I mean, and it's the state is there's no telling how much money's been wasted whenever that could go. Like, let's say DeKalb County, Jackson County. You know, some of these less than fortunate kind of counties where you don't get a whole lot of funding. Well, I mean, you could take that. I mean, we got a problem here in Jackson and DeKalb County both that fentanyl it's out. I mean, it's insane. And yeah, our commission over here, they've backed us. I mean, I'm sure Jackson County has, but the manpower wise, like stuff like that, in order to go out and chase like what we really need to be doing,
Yeah,
I mean,
it takes a big. You got to get basically combined forces.
Yeah, I mean, you do.
To really
and
get anything done.
And as soon as you knock one off or whatever, I mean, another one replaces it, and then they're like, oh, you know, we're making CBD, you know, gummy bears. They're illegal next week. We need to go confiscate them. And then instead of chasing fentanyl, you got everybody running absolute crazy, you know, going to try to make sure we get the gas station weed. Like, to me, that stuff shouldn't, like it's on the bottom of the totem pole, I think, as far as risk factor. Now, do I understand the risk factor for like our kids coming up? Yeah, they see that. Is it eye-appealing? Yes. We tell them no, we shouldn't do it. But that's where we got school resource officers and people in place to bring awareness to, hey, this is what you don't do.
Right.
Like, because you don't know, just because somebody says they bought it from the gas station doesn't mean that where they got it from, you know, it might be laced with fentanyl. And they're like, well, they can't eat that many gummy bears and get, you know, killed by fentanyl. Well, less than 2 micrograms is a lethal dose, which means what goes on the inside of Lincoln's ear on a penny is enough to drop all three of us on the phone right now.
Yeah.
Put that in perspective.
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy.
Well, now that we've went down the rabbit hole, the Baptist equivalent of women wearing pants, we're like,
Let's talk about the lottery now. Can we talk about the lottery?
oh my goodness.
Hey, if we had the lottery, maybe I wouldn't have to get my front end aligned every week.
Well, let me
They'll have a guillotine ready for me after that.
well, I will
Cross
say,
the Georgia state line, and your car goes from rattling change out of the cup to where you can actually hear yourself think. You're thinking, maybe water ain't so bad.
I will say this, and I'll probably be ousted as a Baptist over here.
Oh goodness.
You know, my daughter
Have fun
going
on Sunday.
Oh yes, my daughter going to college, and you know, she doesn't get she's in Tennessee at Columbia State, and she doesn't get that Hope Scholarship or whatever it's called because she's not a Tennessee resident. And those kids up there are getting their education. And I know people are saying, "Oh, preacher, we can't legalize it because of that." And we've got poor people that are blowing their paychecks and all of that. Well, you know, we could debate that topic.
I mean, this is something I know about. Let's just, and me and Craig was talking about it the other day. These people that are fighting this stuff, and if we're being honest about it, we all know this is truth. We're getting beat. That's getting beat down by Mississippi, Tennessee, Georgia, and Florida. They're paying people to make sure that our lottery bill never passes.
Yeah.
Because they don't want the people that Alabama, you know, they depending on Alabama money to keep their lotteries going in as good a shape as they're in. They don't want us to ever have a lottery here, and that's, you know, it is what it is. I've got an opinion about it, and I generally try to keep it to myself. But there's something.
We've opened the box tonight.
Yeah, the people who are going to play the lottery are the people who are already playing the lottery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to go across the state line.
Yeah, I mean, they're going.
Every time I drive through Rising Farm or whatever, I see $130 billion. I'm sitting there thinking, boy, man, that's a lot of money. And that is the appeal of sin. I mean, if you want to get down to the brass taxes thing, I mean, you say that, but they're going to go over there and do it. But you can cross the state line and your car all of a sudden becomes quiet. you cross back into Alabama, and you've got every nut, bolt, windshield wipers falling off, everything else, and they're like, "Oh, we'll raise the gas tax on you, and we'll tax you to death over that." And man, I don't have a desire to go buy a lottery ticket. I'm not a person who has got luck like that. I could buy a whole row and lose $10,000.
Yeah.
I mean, did I see like people same way with alcohol? You know, people lost their life away with it. I mean, people that gamble or whatever, they get addicted. It's an addiction. I mean, they're going to go and they're going to keep doing that. They're going to drive to Georgia out where they're going to do it. But over here,
Maybe we need to make it illegal to cross the state line and play lottery.
I mean, you do that, and I guarantee you, we'll be chasing everybody around through here.
Frank Helm said, "What do y'all think about predestination?"
We're not going to get on that.
No, we probably need to stay away from that.
Predestined to go play the lottery, baby.
I've done them ticketed 2 or 3 times, and they'll be parked out in front of my house when it's over.
Brother Brandon said the Lord predestined me to win this money. He said,
Devil's had it long enough.
Devil's had it long enough. It's time to the church.
That's it.
Get him a Honda.
I mean, you look at their interstates, though. I-59, I think they've been working on that thing since I was like 5 years old.
Yeah.
Longer than that, brother, because I'm older than you, and they've been working on it longer than that.
I'm sitting there thinking, like, you know, they get the gas tax or whatever. You can't tell me that's a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Like, a lot of money.
Well, that gas tax is really going to the bigger counties. It's not going. I think Madison's getting a good chunk of it now, but because it's divvied out by population.
Would you brothers not agree with me though that the main problem we have here in Alabama is how we allocate the tax dollars?
Absolutely.
That we just put it in a general fund for the politicians to spend.
Yeah, man, it's a big old slush fund. That's about all it's ever been.
Whoever's made them happy to spend whatever money on that. And my thing is put it to the places that need it instead of, you know, satisfying your desire because somebody patted you on the back or whatever. Like we got bad problems. I mean, you look at DeKalb. I mean, you look at Etowah County. I mean, that place, you go through Gadsden. That's going to make, if anybody's here from Gadsden, I'm sorry, but you go through there, like that place is terrible.
Yeah.
And they don't, I mean, other places are flourishing. I mean, you come up around here, you're like, I wonder, you know, where that tax money is going to, or, you know, can we get any help around here or whatever? Well, no. I mean, you've got law enforcement that are short-staffed. You've got medics that are short-staffed. Then you throw the fentanyl epidemic in on top of it. It's terrible. And I don't guess they have their heads right, but they'll go and sleep in their $2-3 million house at nighttime, and while people out here that need help, and then they'll go get their picture taken. You know, I gave them, you know, X amount of dollars, and you know everything's fine and dandy. Whenever instead of like being politicians, why don't we start like really focusing on the issues?
Yeah,
like, we got enough places in this. Enough people in the right places, and as far as law enforcement or whatever, that it could be like Thor's hammer if they really wanted to crack down on it.
Right.
I mean, be ruthless with it. Get the drug out. I mean, go after human trafficking. I mean, and there's places around here who take care. You look at Oxford, for example. That's one of the most advanced, like, anti-crime, whatever you call it, areas around here. And they use the taxes off of hotels just right off I-20 to get the money that they have to make Oxford a safe place to go. It's one of the safer places to live.
Yeah, and you wouldn't really think it as big as it's gotten it, but it is a very safe place.
They put money into their law enforcement. They put money into the right places, and I mean, if I was going to go overdose on something, I would want to go, you know, do it right downtown Oxford because I know, number one, I'm going to have good medical treatment probably. They're going to get there pretty fast. And if I go to jail, you know, probably going to be halfway decent. But at the thing about it is, you ain't gonna go through Oxford and commit a crime.
Right.
And you said, well, sure you will. No, they've got all them flock cameras, stuff that they're going to get you.
Yep.
But yeah, we've got, out here, we barely can get street lights. And, and some politicians say, well, that's not true. It's absolutely true. Instead of worrying about putting these little things, and maybe you are like me, I don't know, maybe you're not. Anytime I see one of them little goofy little things that says speed limit, and it like blinks with a little red and blue light, and it says your speed, slow down, I try to speed up, because there ain't no cop 15 miles around the whole thing.
Oh, I thought it was to see how fast you could go.
Yeah,
that's $10,000 sitting there wasting because they're wanting to monitor the speed on this road. No, go. Why would you waste $10,000 on that when you could buy an anti-crime flock system to actually curb crime, or if one is committed or somebody gets kidnapped, you can be right up on top of that.
Would it not be more effective if you were going to do that and say you wanted to put a deterrent out there, get a retired patrol car like they do in Florida? When we were in the Keys, they would put retired patrol cars out by the highway and you would see people slow down. But it would be just as effective as the sign and be a lot cheaper, would it not?
Yeah, with these little trailer thing that they've got, them things are expensive, and they got the little red and blue lights on it. And for example, like me being a cop, I still, if I get pulled over, I don't tell them I'm the police. I got stopped in Tampa, Florida, in the hood. I made a wrong turn, and this was back in March, and I'm in a Cadillac Escalade, and I had people with me, and I turn into the hood. Well, sure enough, I get stopped by Tampa Bay PD. And he's a newer cop. He comes up there, and I'm like, this is fixing to go bad. Like, I know they do not play down here. Well, he gets me out of the car. He's patting me down or whatever. Well, one of the guys that was in the vehicle was laughing, and I guess his trainer was there. And he was like, hey, why are you laughing? He's like, he's a cop. And it's just funny. He's out getting patted down, which I didn't care. He asked me if I had a gun. I said, yeah, it's in the console. Well, dang, I was like, wow, this is great. I don't even know. I'm scared I'm going to go to jail. And I ain't even did anything wrong. And the other day I seen there was a old Dodge Charger. It was parked there. It had weeds going up around it. But it looked just like a state trooper. And I was running too fast. I was in my wife's vehicle, and I come around the curve and seen that. And it was probably like watching the Flintstones. And it wasn't even probably run in 15 years. And I'm like, that done way more good than your speed is 35, slow down.
Oh, yeah.
This car's got weeds growing up out of it, and I'm sitting here causing flat spots.
At least you didn't get out and try to smoke them things.
But there's so much. There's so much that can, technology. We can use technology. It's amazing what you can do nowadays with technology.
Right.
And that's take Craig, for example, or even my sheriff now, how eager they are for the technology stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's so more advanced, for SWAT and stuff like that. I can throw a drone up and send it into the house to find you,
Right.
And we don't have to send live bodies in there that, could potentially, get shot at and stuff like this. We can use technology to our advantage. It's just so expensive, and the funding's going toward unnecessary stuff whenever we could be a lot safer and a lot more effective at curbing crime by, you look over in Europe, there's CCTVs, how they stop crime with that stuff. Same way here. It's out in the public's view, but if we've got that stuff and they'll fund it, so much stuff could be solved if we would put the money into the right places. And I don't have all the answers, but 15 years, I've seen this stuff play out. I've seen where we've failed a lot in law enforcement, and we've let a lot of people down as far as people that we should, try to lift up, and we don't. The system is not made for somebody who goes into jail, and when they go into jail, then they get busted on court referral, And I'll say it, half of them crooked, that you go and they got to pay all this money. They ain't got a job. They lost their job. And it just snowballs. And then, boom, they go off into full-blown addiction. They get arrested 100 times. And the next thing you know, the people that I was arresting 10 years ago, there's about 15 of them that's dead now. That I would give anything to go back and be like, hey, look, there's something coming that is fixing to be very dangerous to you. If you listen to me, I want to help you try to get clean, Now they're in the ground. It's crazy.
Yep.
And we knew it was coming. That's the thing about it. Like, that is what, like, that's what I guess grinds my gears is before fentanyl got here, we knew fentanyl was on its way. It's almost like watching a hurricane, like, fixing to come ashore. We knew it was coming. And we try to put things in place. Like, you can watch, and I can send you a graph of the overdose deaths from 2017, how that stuff like doubled, tripled, quadrupled to where we are now. Like, it will blow your mind.
Wow.
And all the money's going towards useless stuff. I mean, I say useless. It's going towards stuff that we could spend a lot more time on stuff that actually mattered.
Yeah.
But it's, even if we're speaking scientific terms, scientifically, fentanyl will drop you dead.
Yeah.
You look at that. I mean, people can argue it all day, and they can make an argument for drinking marijuana, whatever. I'm against all of it, but I mean, there's some stuff that we're in society that we're going to have to deal with, and I mean, I think we could really chase after stuff that's really going to harm society. And I mean, if it's me, and this is what's if it's making some people mad, especially your social drinkers, but if it was me, it would go fentanyl, opioids, fentanyl, heroin, etc., methamphetamine, alcohol. Like, that's the three that need to be wiped out, because that's the ones that cause the most issues.
Yeah.
I mean, across the board. And people don't like to hear that. They do not like to hear that, because we've been so desensitized. We've been so groomed to going into the gas station and it being there. We all know meth's bad. I mean, we all know heroin's bad, all that stuff. But the doctors, oh boy, doctors are prescribing opioids at a crazy rate. People are getting addicted to it. Then they pull them. Like, I ain't a conspiracy theorist, but I mean, somebody's got to read between the lines. Like, you pull them, well, then they got to go buy heroin and fentanyl.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it. It's depression, antidepressant medication. It gets prescribed, and I mean, I'm not against that. I've had to take it myself because of things over the years that. But now, then, if you talk about it, I should have tried to avoid the issue. Talking about is what really helped me get off of the medication that I was on. Instead of avoiding it, talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that. I mean, you can keep it bottled up or you can talk about it, but then you get alcohol, you pour their antidepressants. What's the first thing they're going to go to? And it's not a pack of cigarettes. They're going to go buy alcohol and try to wash it away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the part where you start talking about it, then they start realizing, wow. And then the penalties on the stuff that is hard, the penalties ain't, they started up, increased them on fentanyl, but you can go steal something or whatever, and literally before I even get a chance to, like, finish the paperwork, they're out of jail.
Right.
Whether they're still high or whatever, or still, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, wow, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people, even from the lowest level all the way up to the federal government, even around here, there's got to be a level of responsibility. It's got accountability, I say, to where, like, we got to be like, hey, we got to do better for the people. Because right now what we're doing is, it's like trying to put negative magnets together. Like, you're literally fighting against yourself. And you just, like, keep digging the same old ditch. And the bridges we've already crossed, like, it's just like we go back, and here we go again.
Right.
So got bigger problems. But hey, people don't like to hear it. I don't care. I'll tell it. I mean, I guess they can file a grievance. I mean, they can shoot me in the inbox and I'll delete it. I don't care. I ain't got time to argue. There's people that want to argue. I mean, and everything I'm saying, you can get. I mean, if you have any time, you can research this stuff and find out, like, not just researching, like, I'll research it, but this is like real life data, like stuff over 15 years, and probably Craig can probably attest about everything that I'm saying. Like, that's the facts. Like,
Right.
And science backs it, but yet we still keep going in the same direction. Like, I don't understand it. It's like bridge out ahead, and you're like, oh, mash the gas, bud. I don't understand it. But I don't know. Maybe we'll get it figured out one day eventually. Well, we might.
Well, yeah, I'm agreeing with you, man. I'd like to see a lot of change in a lot of things. I'm sure most everybody is listening would. One thing about it tonight, my viewership on this podcast, the poor people are going to love me from here on out. I've got a poor people crowd.
Hey, man.
We ain't made rich people happy tonight.
You got me on there like, yep, time to go. Hey, I'll argue with a brick wall if I know I'm right. Now, if I know I'm wrong, I'll just ignore you.
Nathaniel, I appreciate you coming on, man. It's good to talk to you, buddy.
Hey, yes, sir, brother. Good to hear from y'all. And if y'all need me, y'all can let me know. And I love both of y'all.
Love you, brother.
You too, man. Take care.
Yes, sir. Buddy.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, Brandon, we're closing in on hour number 3.
Praise the Lord. Craig is all mad. I mean, he is mad because you cut him off at 2 hours. But, you know, we have gone in places that no Baptist has dared to go before.
That's right.
And we have solved all the world's problems. And, you know, the women are saying that they don't ever want to hear either one of us talk about women talking too long. Now, one thing, me and Tater, we can talk, and we can talk, and we can talk. And but you know,
only rich folks go to the Keys.
I seen his smart aleck comment. Lord have mercy. That's why I've not been back.
Well, they're not highfalutin enough for you down there.
Yeah. Everybody needs to go to the Keys at least once.
Me. I watch Bloodline. I don't need to go to the Keys. I'm cool.
Fly in there to an airport on a 747 that's the length of Quincy Street, the one I grew up on. You know, it's crazy, but it's been awesome, and I always enjoy talking about these things. And you know, me and you, we talk about them all the time, but it's you know, life is not always easy. It's messy, and that's the curse of sin that we are faced with. And you know, I think a lot of times we have to be careful that we, rather than being doctrinally sound about what thus saith the Lord, we preach about what our convictions are.
Yeah.
And you know, Paul talks about that, and you know that. You know, that you have your convictions, I have my convictions, but I have a responsibility not to offend you with my convictions. And
Christy said we prefer Aruba.
we do prefer Aruba, Craig. So just
Christy said that, not Craig.
Well, no, I'm saying we prefer. I was telling him he was the one that said it about the Keys.
Oh yeah,
we prefer Aruba. If you ever get the chance to go, you need to go. But and it's not that expensive, I promise you. Especially if you play the lottery, you may have a better chance of going.
Oh, my man. It's been fun.
Oh, I love you, brother.
I love you too, man.
It.
Appreciate you coming on tonight.
Absolutely.
Been a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Everybody who comes on after you's got a lot to live up to now.
Oh, I doubt that. There's a lot better people than me. I you know, if we've offended you in any kind of way, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, if we have offended you or you don't like something that we said, You can feel free to call me at 256-244-5372.
I appreciate you giving out my number there, bud. God bless you. But when you call me, I'm going to give you his number for real.
You feel free to reach out day or night.
Matter of fact, I'm going to give him Christy's number. That way you can listen to her.
Yes.
When she gets done with you,
Should we give out Dawn's number? She'd kill both of us, wouldn't she?
She'll kill you. I'm not giving it out. I'm saying no.
No, I wouldn't do that to her.
I'm scared.
I am scared. I am scared. I am scared. Again, before we go, Brother Tater, I would just like to tell everybody, if you don't have a home church, you're not coming to Mud Creek, we'd sure love to have you at Hollywood. We're a small fellowship. And, I try to be an expositor of God's word, not the greatest preacher, but that's all I want to do, lead people to Christ. If you don't have anywhere to be on September the 7th at 10:30, we'd love to have you. Brother Cody Dunaway be coming and preaching from Tiplersville, Mississippi. And, Brother Tater, I believe he starts the same time we do at 10:30 on Sunday mornings. And I know Brother Tater and them, they'd love to have you guys.
This is your podcast or mine. I appreciate that.
I'm trying to give a shout out to everybody. Brother Nathaniel Bates, he'd love to have you. But in all seriousness though, it's about, being the house of God. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Being the house of God.
Absolutely.
With good, sound biblical preaching. And I know my friend here, Brother James, will give you that.
Yeah. Well, it ain't about what we think anyways, man. It's just about what it says. And as we say every Sunday, and we say it here too, I'm not for anything illegal. It ain't never going to be right to do wrong, and it'll never be wrong to do right. So if everybody just tried to do right and do what's right, we wouldn't have all these problems we got in the world, but people don't try to always do right. And, learn to laugh at yourself and learn to laugh at each other and not take life, the small things, the insignificant things so serious. It's not the end of the world.
Amen.
And, we got a lot of life left to live. And we still got time to do a lot of good. So let's go out there and do some good.
Amen.
And be about that instead of being about the negativity. Brother Brandon, I appreciate you coming on. Brother Nathaniel, I thank you for taking part and helping us out. All you tonight in the comment section, the smart Alex and the angels.
They made it.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun going back and forth with you guys tonight. It's been off the cuff, off the hip. Brother Roger Brandon said it best though. Loose lips sink ships, and
this one went down fast.
We sunk this one faster than the Titanic.
Yeah.
But like Ozzy Osbourne tonight, all aboard!
Oh man, it's been great.
We definitely went down with the ship tonight.
Amen.
I do. Again, I appreciate everybody tuning us in. I don't have a guest lined up just yet. I'm working on one for next week. I hope that by the time we get there next week, that everything be lined up. I know after the week after that, I got one of my church members lined up. Chris Nelson going to be here, and he's going on the hot seat, and I'm going to get him in a payload of trouble. And he just don't even know it yet.
And I guarantee you, after tonight, it will be a lot more structured. and I hate it for everybody else because they're probably not going to get 3 hours.
Well, that just depends on how the conversation goes. You know how that is, man.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Brother Brandon, I appreciate it. We're getting out of here.
Absolutely. Love you guys.